To a farm.
It's 2 hours.
Yeah. That's interesting.
He sounds example.
So, they,
We're working on it. We're on 3 to 4.
Do you want to sit up and work?
I can't wait till you get dinner.
So you were up there in case anybody I don't know.
It's such a nursing thing.
Forgot about school board, right? You got your green, you got your card, good, good, good. Yeah. I don't know. This is probably the clerk's.
He's on the house.
You wanna be here, Mark? I mean,
No, you can see my hair, it's fine, yeah, it's fine, I just figured it. I got it. Temporarily, yeah.
course, as you know, my name is Leslie Giroux. I'm the clerk and tax collector for the town of Solon. I've been appointed as the clerk and the voter registrar to help you guys out in the interim until you guys vote in new people tonight. So, to Barbara Norman, resident of the Forest Plantation in the county of Somerset. In the name of the state of Maine, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of the Forest Plantation in said plantation affairs to meet at the town hall in said plantation on Thursday, September 28th, 2023 at 6 p.m. They are to act on the following articles to wit. Article 1, to choose a moderator to preside at said meeting. Do we have any motions, nominations?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can the moderator also vote, or can he only vote, or she vote if there's a tie?
I've never had a moderator be a resident, so I'm not sure of,
So we're just wondering, does that person have to give up their vote if they,
Tom Sylvester did it.
I wouldn't think so. You guys have had residents be moderators, correct? Yeah. I wouldn't think so.
I would think they would not be able to vote, right?
That they should be able to vote, correct, yeah. I would think so. That's one question I've never been asked, because we've always had someone else come in.
I just know there are reservations because people don't wanna give up
Right, yeah.
their vote?
No, I don't.
What about deputy, you interested?
I can't do it in this capacity, unfortunately.
Thank you
Oh,
for
you
coming.
did?
Leslie, can you act as a moderator?
Legally, yes. So I acted as moderator for the first time at a special town meeting that we had. And we reached out to, someone questioned it. I reached out to MMA Legal and they said that it's not illegal, but for the clerk to do it, but it could be like a little gray area, but if nobody has a problem with it, he said it was fine. He said he wouldn't recommend it, but if that's your option, then yeah.
I nominate Leslie Giroux.
Second.
Okay, so,
They gotta, those are two voters right there.
and who seconded? And what was your last name?
Ryan Court.
I'll probably have to ask names because,
That's fine.
Did
So
you
I-
see the two people that just came in? This one.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
grab their thing.
you gotta check in.
Susan Hathaway, made the motion.
Yeah. Okay, so I have to check you guys in, or were you already checked in?
No.
No, they hadn't, okay.
Sorry.
So I'm doing double duty, so let me just check you off real quick. What's your last name?
I think it's
Can we
white
all
pen.
shut off our cell phones, please? That would be very helpful.
I know, yeah. Oh, Tom. Is it Thomas the second?
Thomas, the third is on his way.
And I have, he'll still be 2513. Is that your one? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of nominating me, electing me? All those, all those opposed?
Hold your card.
There you go. Okay, motion passes.
One of these? Okay.
Okay. Be nice. This is only my second time, but I've been a clerk for 12 years, so I've been to plenty of meetings, so.
We appreciate it.
I'm ready.
Thank you.
Okay, so, just a couple of things for housekeeping. If you could turn phones down, volume down, would be helpful. The other thing is you need to direct all questions to the moderator and not, direct any comments or questions amongst yourselves. It helps keep things flowing smooth. I will try to, let everybody speak, but we'll try to, one thing to do is make sure that someone who hasn't spoken on a topic yet speaks before somebody who wants to make a second comment. Trying to think if there was something else. I think those are the major things, just so, try to make sure that everything goes smooth. And you guys have a little bit different, you guys have a school board section, which I'm not used to, so bear with me. Okay. Article 2, to raise a salary for and elect a clerk for a term of 1 year. Present salary is $3,000, recommended salary is $3,000. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to, accept Article 2 as written.
You're gonna write that down for me, okay? Give me names. Okay, can you second it?
The salary is the same, right?
Keeping it, so as written, yep.
I motion to second.
Second, and your
Lindsay.
name? And your Lindsay.
Weiser.
Leslie,
I could probably look up and get it first, yep.
if we are going to amend anything, how does that work? Can you just give
Right,
us a-
so, okay, so you always have to, get a motion and a second on an article, whether everybody doesn't want it or not, it's gonna fail it or not. You have to be able to open it up for discussion. And then, so you have discussion, then somebody can make a motion to amend that article. And then you have to have a second on the amendment, then you vote on the amendment, and then you vote on the article as amended. Yeah, okay, I got it. So, anytime, we always have to open it, as is, first and second,
As written.
as written, yeah, as it's presented, or as it's recommended. With us, we always have a recommendation, my selectmen, okay, so we have a first and we have a second. Is there any discussion?
A lot of these positions that are only 1 year, are going to be only serving from October to next June. So I would like to amend the salary to be $2,250, which is 3/4 of $3,000 for a clerk position.
This is not the one yet.
Pardon me? This is not a
So
one-year
one-
job. It's a 3/4 year term.
Right. I think you're probably gonna make a statement about paying the clerk from
Right,
July.
right,
Okay, do you wanna
right.
say that?
Well, we have had a clerk in place since June 30th, so, I mean, she did resign recently in August 30th, I believe. But that, the salary, if they're in place, is what the salary is.
So-
If you cut it down to 3/4, then that would negate her salary.
Right.
So it's more of a budget line versus
Right.
a salary. So the $3,000 is a budget line to pay a clerk, whether that's 1 clerk or 3 clerks, I think is what her point is, so, just to clarify that. I mean, you guys can still make the amendment,
If there's nobody in office, they obviously would not get paid.
right, so you could end up with, say somebody worked for 2 months, they get that portion of it, somebody worked for 8 months, they get that portion. You
You're
have
here
2,
for how many days and you get a
Right.
portion.
You get-
So,
Nope, that makes
2
sense.
months left over, that would just roll over to next year's budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I know, I'm gonna keep referencing Solon because that's what I know. So our deputy budget isn't a salary, like mine typically is because I have a full year salary, but our deputy line is a budget, not a salary.
right.
But, so would you like to revoke your amendment, or would you like to?
I would revoke
Okay.
it, yeah.
Okay, so there's no amendment. Okay, so we have a first and a second. Any other discussion on this one? All those in favor
I'm assuming we're only voting on the salary at this point?
Right.
Right, yeah,
That's
I
not
don't know
what
when you
the motion
guys,
was.
when you guys vote for the positions, do you do that at the end, after the budget, or before?
No,
No, you have to
right
make
now.
each article, you take care of it in each article.
Right, but elected.
So you gotta elect a clerk.
Salary
Elected
and then
clerk
election.
first.
We have to do that next.
Oh, you do
That's
it.
part of the article.
That's part of the
Says to
article.
elect.
Oh, raise and elect, okay, I'm so not used to doing that, we do secret ballots, so I didn't even, I didn't
Well,
even
we
get
can
that,
do
okay.
secret ballots as well.
Typically do a closed ballot in
Do a
case
written
there's
ballot,
Yeah,
If there's two different
It's a written ballot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's requested or contested.
yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion to
Keep the salary as written.
keep the salary as written, and do we have a nomination to elect a clerk?
I'd like to nominate Susan Hathaway.
I second it.
In your
Denise
name?
Haynes and Denise Rancourt. Any other nominations? Okay, seeing none, I'll move for a vote. All those in favor of Susan Hathaway as clerk? All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay. So do you guys, okay, so that's for electing. So once we get to Article 4, do you guys typically elect and then the budget, or which way do you guys normally do it? I wanna.
Salary, then election.
You do it the salary first, okay. Okay, Article 3, to raise the salary for the first assessor, third year of a 3-year term, present salary $8,662.70, recommended salary $8,662.70. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we accept the salary as read.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion?
I'd like to, amend the salary to be 8,000. It has been 8,000 for years, and
That's
last
what it
year
was last year.
Yeah, it went up last year, yeah.
It was the same, it's been the same the last 4 years.
Can she talk, please?
So my recommendation is that it's 8,000.
Okay, is there any other discussion before we vote on an amendment?
I just have a question why it's such an odd amount.
Taxes.
You know,
When it was first entered as an item, taxes were included, it was like $8,000 for the salary, and then 600 and whatever odd cents was social security, withholding taxes, federal taxes.
so this
Why
line,
wasn't everyone done that way?
It was at one time.
Well, it wasn't in the report that we have, the treasurer's report.
so I guess so there's a question as to whether this is part of the salary, the gross salary, or does it include the taxes as well? Is it the budget line or a salary? So this is a budget line, and so the payroll taxes come out of this total?
Correct.
Is that, okay. So, yeah, so the clarification is that this is a budget line, that the payroll taxes come out of that total. So that would make sense if the salary is 8,000 and the taxes may be the additional.
We have a separate line item in the town warrant for taxes.
Social security tax.
It's social security.
We have a separate line for that.
Okay, so there's a line for social security, not for the FICA, I'm seeing.
Under plantation charges, I believe.
Yeah. you know the article, just because I hadn't read these word for word. Number 24.
So Article 13 is for Social Security, and then Article 24 has payroll tax, federal and state.
Okay. Okay. So it does look like that's part of the salary line. So you're looking to amend, there's been a motion on the floor to amend Article 3 from $8,662.70 to $8,000. Is there a second on that?
I second that.
You have the name?
Yeah.
Heather Sylvester.
So we have two motions.
Now you vote on that.
Yeah, we vote on the amendment. Okay, so any discussion on the amendment? Yeah,
Just to clarify, so this was the salary for the last 4 years,
No.
Past year.
past year, okay? And was this voted on before, last year was?
last year
Okay.
that was the total.
I'm just a new guy here,
Yeah.
well, history, all right, cool.
Okay. Any other discussions on the amendment? Okay, seeing none, let's make a motion, take a vote on the amendment. The amendment is to, reduce the first assessor's, salary from $8,662.70 to $8,000. All those in favor of amending the article? Anyone opposed? Okay. Let's do it one more, I just wanna count. Okay, so those in favor of amending? So much easier than dance. Okay, and those opposed? Okay. So the amendment passes 15-14. Okay, so now we're gonna vote on the article as amended, which is kind of the same thing we just did, but, so, okay, so now we're going to, so we already had a first and a second, now we're going to vote on the Article 3, with a recommended salary of, or with an amended salary of $8,000. All those in favor? And I'll probably count again, so.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, but not really.
Okay, all those opposed?
You can abstain, right?
Yep. So the motion passes as amended.
What was the final vote on that?
20. Okay, give her a second to write some notes. Okay, Article 4, to raise the salary for and elect, I don't know what I'm reading, a second assessor. First year of a 3-year term, present salary $7,700, recommendation $7,700. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
For the salary and electing, what do we?
The salary.
This is the salary.
The salary first, so.
So Denise made the motion.
And what was your last name?
Frank Moore.
See, I have it noted here. I'll get it by the end of the night.
Second is red, right?
Any discussion on the salary? Seeing none, and, All those in favor of, Article 4 as written? All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, do I have a nomination for second assessor?
Nominate Charlie Hathaway.
I second.
I nominate Lindsay.
Well done.
Motion.
Susan, you seconded it,
I
right?
did, yeah.
A second.
So the other nomination was for who?
Lindsay Weiser.
And what was your name? Who nominated?
Chris,
Chris,
Oh,
Chris, you,
Chris, oh, okay.
Chris, you, the second was Jim Derea. Thank you, Jim.
It's easy in Solon, I write initials down, I know everybody. Okay. Do we have any other nominations for second assessor? Okay, seeing none, we will do a written ballot vote.
Do we have a chance
we
to?
just-
Oh, yeah, discussion, sorry, yeah, skipped ahead there. Okay, any discussion, any of the nominees would like to speak or decline, anything? You guys wanna talk? Yeah, go ahead.
I have a few concerns. Mr. Hathaway is currently the director of CFWF, and is that considered a conflict of interest?
You guys know, I don't know what's.
That's our landfill.
He's the director of the
Um, I'm not sure if that
I
would
don't
be.
believe it is because the director doesn't have any control over the budget. The four representatives
Right.
from the entities
Mhm.
work, and that would be the only questionable.
Right, if he would have control over his own budget, right, yeah.
Would you like to say anything? Would you
Yeah,
like to
would
say-
any of the nominees like to speak, or does anybody else have anything?
I really think that Lindsay would be a breath of fresh air in this town. There's been a lot
I
of
can't
really
hear you, Chris.
negative,
Speak up.
negative people.
Did you speak up?
I said I really think that Lindsay would be a breath of fresh air in this town. There's been a lot of negative things that have been happening in the last year, and I really question if Charlie would be a good fit for this town. So just keep that in mind, folks.
Any other comments? Yeah, go ahead.
I would consider it a privilege to serve this town.
Anybody else?
Maybe-
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
So Charlie, what kind of a dynamic are you gonna bring to this board?
I think given the current situation with our fiscal, audit status, this town needs to pull together and try to figure out our financial situation. That's what we gotta do, that's priority one. There are other issues that concern me, but that's priority number one, period. How about Lindsay?
As Chris Hugh said, I know a lot of people are probably looking at me only being 30 years old of wanting to run for this, but a lot of, younger people are moving up here, and I do agree with the stance of having someone younger stepping up and being able to speak for people of the town. I work up here, live up here now. I would really like to get involved in everything that is going on so that it's perhaps not seen as the young kids not being very welcomed. I do know that there's some other younger folks that haven't felt very welcome to come to either meetings or discuss things with folks because it gets hostile. And I would like to change that and have it be seen that anybody at any age can speak up and represent their town.
I agree.
Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, one more, yep.
Charlie's been a long-time resident, and he has nothing but the best interest of the town at heart. And this current situation concerns him greatly, and I think he would be in a position to help address it if he was in that office.
Anybody else?
I'm sorry?
Should I answer?
You can.
I'd like to counter that statement. Mr. Hathaway's independent actions have put the town at risk over the past year and a half. It's been a very difficult dynamic, and he's brought a lot of negativity to the area. I just don't think he'd be a very good fit. Thank you.
I would disagree with that.
Yeah, we can agree to disagree, Ms.
No problem. I think
One at a
the
time, one at a
problem.
time. Charlie, go ahead. I mean, yeah.
It's okay.
John.
Chuck, yeah.
I think all the town's problems have originated in the board, not dealing up front with Keel Hood, and I don't know what the hell happened with the current auditor. And I think a little fresh blood in there would be good.
I disagree with that.
Okay, we have, right there.
I have seen Charlie work very well with the young people of this community, and I think working together is gonna be, good for everybody.
Does anybody else have any comments or concerns? I know you had your hands up first. Yeah.
I think Charlie is in a position to bring us all together. I don't think he's going to be hostile. We just want some transparency, we want questions answered. I think he'd be in a position to do that. And we definitely need to build trust in this town again. We've lost it all.
And you had a statement?
Yeah, I also just wanna say that I work with Charlie, at the landfill, he's the manager, and everything is very smooth, he's a pleasure to work with. So I have to disagree with the negative comments, cause it is a breath of fresh air and a pleasure to be a part of the landfill.
And we have, just one second, we have a new voter. What was your last name?
Sylvester.
And that was Thomas, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You wanna do that first? Okay. Yeah, you had a statement?
Yeah, my concern with Mr. Hathaway is the fact that he is not coming in with a fresh set of eyes. He's got eyes that are already determined to bring this town down, and eyes, excuse me, and eyes that are not willing to accept the probable outcome of this new audit that is being done. The negativity that has been expressed, not only throughout town, but throughout the media, is, I really feel a detriment to this town.
Anybody else? Susan?
I just wanna say, I mean, I'm sure I'm biased, but the fact is that the reason why, the perception of us being hateful or disrespectful, the only reason that that is going on is because we have not had answers. We've had a lot of, just, basically, our feeling is that they don't wanna hear from us at all. And we're all frustrated. We have been dealing with, denial, deception for 16 months. This is, we're trying to get a breath of fresh air assigned to the board so that we can have some accountability, some transparency, some, a path to move forward for our town.
Anybody else? If not, we will move to vote.
Let's vote.
Okay.
Can I request that we
Written, yep.
written vote?
Yeah, that would be my suggestion, is, so if everybody in,
How would you like this organized, ma'am?
let's
Do you want some help? Do you mean?
Put it in,
Yeah.
any papers at the end.
usually put, when they're,
Yeah,
put
there's,
some for people to
there's
come
an
up,
empty corner at the end of that.
Okay. and then we'll,
No, the box stays up here.
oh, just here.
Yeah.
Okay, so if people wanna come up and grab a pencil, yeah, maybe we'll do the handout.
Yeah, I'll just do a handout. It's probably best to go save.
There you go, yeah.
You have to see their orange
anybody who's registered? Oh, yeah, that's fine. Anybody who doesn't have a pen? Anybody else need a pencil?
I just paid taxes on this, so.
Oh, you got one, okay. Pumped it.
I need one, thank you. It's hiding from you.
We'll have a card in this aisle, you guys need one of these?
We're not ready.
Okay. Okay, so here are these back.
I had to think about it.
Yeah. So does anybody have a ballot yet? Okay, so we wanna wait a couple of minutes, you guys talk quietly amongst yourselves. We'll double check.
Right at the mouth of the seal out, right?
Mostly from the
We wouldn't even do it. Way before we went fishing.
I caught the biggest.
No, Auburn. Yeah. No, I'm over at Central Maine Community College. Yeah. Been trying to stick a deer with an arrow lately. Expanded archery opened up beginning of this month. I've seen one good sized buck where I was like, wow, I was like, I hope he comes a little bit closer, cause I wanna stick him in here, I was like, that's a big buck. Even look at it from 150 yards away and say he went 220, it's a big, big chicken. That's a big deer. Yeah. A lot of dogs down there, for sure though. Some good side ones. Yeah. I'll be excited for birds to open up on Saturday though.
It's gonna be a tough bird year.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah. Ground and water.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get what's here before they all get taken end of the week. It's like last season, everyone said opening week would be pretty good, but then it seemed like opening week we had we got back and bird season was crap after that.
And then you've got a big fish that's like the size of a piece of plywood.
I don't know if Sandy should be,
I don't know who I'm counting.
I know. Moderator. This one, probably shouldn't have let him keep it. Keep having salary.
Okay, so, I have one blank because there's no name written on it. There's a pen mark, but no name. It's 16 to 16, so we're gonna have to vote again. So, good, do this one more time.
Never say die.
So we'll see if we can, we'll streamline this. Everybody has their pencils now. What I'll do is everybody fill out a new ballot and I'll go around and we'll just send it maybe to the, and if you send it to the middle, I'll come around in a
Also, I have a
minute.
degree in police science, I never thought of doing this.
Right.
It's Deputy McMillan, by the way, everybody.
Everyone knows me, I'll pull them over at some point.
Not me.
Say no.
That's more than
I pulled over your husband?
I was gonna say, if you pull over my teacher,
Oh, you already got
my son,
yours?
another one, so.
Another one?
you need to get a firefighter license.
I gotta do one, right?
Making sure you get this.
Yeah, that's a 1, 3. Three other guys, right? Maybe that's where the blank came from, to be honest. Well, here we go again.
Yeah.
Up this way. Be on my toes.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I'm about to say, that's what I was looking for.
I'm sorry.
Oops, sorry.
Get it.
Rewrite a name on that?
Oh, that's just it, one face. Ma'am, I'm-
I'll follow the copies that are following me.
Very nice.
Hello again. Something tells me I'm doing this again. After this, I'm not sure. You guys are. Okay, I do get everyone. So, you already have your own. All right. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, some people opt not to, opt not to.
Come in to survive. Take a right. That'll take you.
Oh, sorry. It doesn't matter.
Just before the bridge.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right, don't take it.
Good, okay.
Before we walk back around, do we need to give all those just now get next together?
Right. Yeah.
No one else expected this.
Okay, you guys can talk a few more minutes. Okay.
It's near the, Wizards. It's a past that's been converted into a little burger shack and.
They usually open up 6, 7.
Yeah.
They sell coffee.
It is a, it's like
Is that in pencil? Mr. Rube, is that in pencil? Are you having trouble reading one?
Yeah, there's no name.
Is it, this gentleman's right here. I think it's Jim. It's Jim. This one right here. I know, but. He's having some difficulty writing.
Okay.
Can you identify that, Jim? Is your, is his?
Yeah, we'll see if we, if this doesn't work, we'll have to do it by show of hands, just. I don't wanna accept something that's not clear to me.
That's what we should have done at the beginning of that whole.
So we ended up with the same outcome, the one that's not legible, not decipherable as to who the intent was. So, we're gonna, well, yeah, just because we wouldn't know who
wrote it.
who wrote, yeah. So we'll just do a show of hands, so you'll have to give me a chance to count. Okay, so all those in favor of electing Charlie, please hold up your cards and give me a second, I'll try to.
Jim.
Still gonna be the same.
Okay? And all those in favor of electing Lindsay? Okay. One more time. Okay. got, I don't know if you counted, got the same thing. So I have, 17 in favor of Charlie and 16 in favor of Lindsay. Okay, so we're done.
Thank you, people.
Thank you,
Okay.
Charlie. Congratulations.
Good job.
Okay. Okay. Article 5, to raise a salary for a third assessor, second year of a 3-year term. Present salary $7,000, recommended salary $7,000. Although, anyone make a motion?
I make a motion.
I second it.
To accept as read, you should
Yeah.
state what
That's
you're
all
doing.
right.
That's it, red.
And Heather seconded.
Any discussion on the salary? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes. And get into the lingo, and it starts moving a little smoother as I go along, okay? Let's see. Article 6, to raise a salary and elect a treasurer, third year of a 3-year term. Present salaries, $7,500, recommended salary $7,000. Anyone make a motion?
I make a motion, for 7,500 to,
You had
as
accepted
read,
as read first.
as read.
Well, we have two different amounts, so we have to have the motion for the particular, one of the two amounts, if it's, accepted as recommended, or you can state the amount, so.
You have to accept it as read, and then they can make an amendment.
No, it says to raise a salary for an elect. It says present is and recommended is.
So
I make a motion
Oh,
for the
gotcha, never
present
mind.
Present amount, yeah, cause I did read both, so, okay.
as read.
Motion.
Second.
You have
Second.
yeah, and then you want, I wanna make sure you got that ready, okay.
So I make
Okay.
a motion to accept it as recommended.
I would second that.
Okay, so, so you're making a motion to amend?
Correct.
Okay,
It's gonna be a new person and a new position, and that raise was not merited the last time it was given, so I
And
recommend.
it's also not a complete 3-year term.
Correct.
There is the assessor's
That was me.
okay, so you have the amendment,
They're gonna have a lot of work on their hands.
okay, so, do we have any discussion on the amendment?
I think the new treasurer coming in is going to have a lot on their plate with learning the books, making sure all the reconciliations are taken care of, going through the trio training. So I really think that people need to think about what we're paying that person for a salary and that we pay them appropriately. The salary has been $7,500, and I think we should keep it at that and not give them less, $500 less, because they're a new person. If we did that every time, then we'd be giving less money to the new second assessor we just elected, or next year when we elect a first assessor. I mean, it's just, it's bad to keep doing that, like nitpicking whether somebody should have a certain amount of money or not, so.
Okay, anybody else?
Was that salary meant to be listed like how I think it was the first assessor salary, like with the taxes included, or is it a
No.
complete change?
We did find that the taxes are in a different article,
Okay.
so, yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
This, the treasurer that is coming in will not be serving a full year.
We already went over that.
But the person who was treasurer though would have gotten paid part of
We
that
didn't
salary.
have a treasurer for
We had
2
it till
months,
August 30th.
till August 30th.
Yeah.
So
So
that was
if-
2 months.
Excuse me.
So that was 2 months, so you're still gonna only be serving 9 months.
And they'll get 9/12 of their.
So if Okay, so if we go by how, our discussion earlier, the same, presumptive, like, well, let's say that if somebody only works 10 months out of the 12, that this salary line is treated like a budget line, and so they would get 10 months out of the, out of that 12, that, that's how everybody's taking it?
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay.
Perfect.
Okay. So. Okay, any other discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, let's make a motion, all those in favor of amending articles, we'll kind of do it twice, it's kind of the same thing. We'll, vote on the amendment to, raise the treasurer line, or raise $7,000 for the treasurer line, okay? So this, what this does is goes with the recommended salary of 7,000. So if you're in favor, that would be the 7,000, not the 7,500. So all those in favor of the $7,000 budget? All those opposed? Okay, amendment fails.
You don't have a number, just.
Yeah, I don't, if it's obvious, we don't need a number. Okay, so now, is there any discussion on the, on Article 6, as motioned with the 7,500? Any other discussions? Good, seeing none, all those in favor of the treasurer's salary at $7,500? All those opposed? Okay. Okay, Article 7.
No.
Oh, no, sorry. I stopped myself, as soon as I started to talk, I was like, okay. Do we have any nominations for treasurer?
I make a nomination for Evan Anderson.
I second it.
Second.
Hold on.
And who seconded?
Roger Parker.
Thank you.
I don't know, we don't want to vote.
And then Roger.
Paquette. Yeah.
second.
That's all right. You can keep your phone on.
I make a motion to, nominate Lindsay.
Second.
There's more than one Lindsay in
Lindsay Weiser.
Lindsay Weiser.
Alright.
I just mentioned.
I'm just making sure, cause there's more than one Lindsay in the.
He's busy enough, right?
Okay, so we currently have 2 nominations. Are there any other nominations for treasurer? Okay.
Anybody wanna say?
Yeah, any discussion? Any of the nominees want to discuss? Yeah, go ahead.
I think we should just do it by show of hands. Let's
Okay.
get it done.
Yeah. Okay, and, yeah, yep.
Evan, do you mind telling your background?
The background.
Sure. So I've been in finance since the mid-90s. I received a master's degree in finance from DePaul University in Chicago. And which I spent most of that time in commercial real estate and banking until the bank that I worked for failed. And then I went to the FDIC to sort out bank failures. And I've retired since then, but very much looking forward to helping this town get back on track.
Any other comments? Any other comments or statements or questions? Yep.
I just think we need someone that's got some kind of experience at this. This is, I mean, everything in it is a mess, and we've had auditors that can't complete audits, and through no fault of anyone. But I think it's time for someone to come in that really has some experience and knows how to follow through this. Otherwise, we're gonna have to hire an accountant or something, because there's just basic things that, people aren't able to do, and again, through no fault of any person, it's just a mess. We need to get things straightened out. So we definitely need someone with some background.
I would make a statement that I too also have experience, not nearly as much as Evan does, but I do have experience with, bookkeeping, reconciles. As I have just been taking over and reconciling the books from Magic Falls for the last several years, on top of doing all of the bookkeeping, with that as well. I'm obviously not as well represented in that, but I do have experience with bookkeeping.
Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, I move to vote. Okay. We're gonna do it by show of hands this time, see if.
If anybody wishes for a written ballot, they have the right to.
Right, oh yes, of course, unless anybody would like to do written ballot, that's totally, we can do that if somebody wants to. Okay. So by show of hands, all those in favor of Evan? Okay, all those in favor of Lindsay? Uh, 21 Evan and 12 Lindsay. Congratulations, Evan.
Thank you, Evan.
Okay, now Article 7. To raise the salary for the tax collector, third year of a 3-year term. Present salary is $6,200, recommended salary is $6,200.
Make a motion that we accept Article 7 as read.
Any second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I'd like to make a motion that we go back to the old way, the tax collector is also the BMV agent, and the salary be changed to $8,000. And the BMV agent and tax collector, like I said, as it was prior to last year.
It's several years now.
Currently, I need to speak to that, currently the BMV agent is a appointed position, and it has a
It's always been
separate.
an elected.
It's an appointed position, David, now, it has been for the last year, and it has its own salary line, so it's an appointed position. Yes.
I'd like to make that motion that I said, so
I don't think you can do that in this.
why can't we?
So if you wanna change something, from appointed to elected or elected to appointed, I believe, because we've done this, mine is now, my position in Solon is now appointed, that you have to vote on that, and then it takes effect the following year. So, yep,
So when this was changed last year, it wasn't voted on, so I guess.
it wasn't,
No,
It was never voted on.
it was always
So-
elected, and then we went and we raised the salary for a new one, and that was last year. So that was, they
you
chose,
separated it last year.
Yes,
Yeah.
we were told that we had to because it was a conflict of interest,
Right.
so we never really got to vote on it. We just were told that it kinda had to be that way.
Right, which I'm sort of familiar with
Yeah.
the situation where the person, couldn't hold both positions. So what you can do though, well, so,
Is there
cause we're not, so currently, these two are, so these two articles, Article 7 and Article 9, are only for the budget. What does it say? Right, because we currently have you have a BMV agent?
We don't have one now.
We don't.
No.
So because it's appointed, so that's why it's not on
It's
here.
appointed, right.
Right, okay. Yeah, so these are just salary lines. So they technically can be the same person. The tax collector is,
Except they have to add up to $8,000 because that's the way it's always been until last year, where it was separated and the two salaries combined. They were two separate people for the last year, but they don't have to be. So if we have $8,000, it captures both of those, either that or then we can decrease one or the other.
But am I correct in saying that the current tax collector cannot act as BMV agent? Is that correct?
No, she's
Right.
not.
Okay, so.
No, yes, you can.
You,
I was gonna say, when.
oh, okay,
There's no.
okay, kind of, okay. I wasn't sure if that was, if that issue.
Can I-
I don't know whose hands were up first, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Is there a reason why they're separated or why they would wanna be together, I guess?
So there was a conflict with the full-time position of the tax collector working for the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. And BMV stated that it was a,
Conflict of interest.
conflict of interest, I knew what I wanted to say. So at the time, to keep the tax collector working, they separated the two, I believe. Yep.
A tax collector, from my understanding, collects all tax, including excise tax, all tax in the town, and that's the position that a tax collector, what do they do in Solon?
Every town is slightly different. I have found everybody, so sometimes you have an excise tax clerk, and sometimes you have a tax collector that collects real estate. So every town is slightly different. Sometimes it'd be nice if it was just the same across the board, but, the definition of the positions can be slightly different from town to town, so, yeah, go ahead.
I have a question just for clarification. Is it, did I hear that the current tax collector cannot work as a BMV agent because it's a conflict of interest?
It was.
Right now?
It was.
Not now.
But it isn't
Not
right now?
anymore.
No.
Okay.
Not anymore,
I just
yeah.
wanted to clarify that. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah, that's why I was double checking, because,
I think that's why this all came to be,
Yep.
and if it doesn't exist anymore, I don't know why we wouldn't go back to the way it always was, because that conflict doesn't exist.
so as far as changing it, oh, yeah.
Oh, you can answer his question.
Well, yeah, no, go ahead.
Is there any benefit to combining them, or are we just trying to save $600?
What's your question?
Like,
Right,
do the two positions actually?
Right.
Does anybody have a
Overlap,
response to that? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I guess the obviously one would be is if the current tax collector gets appointed to be the BMV agent, now he's collecting two salaries.
That's right.
So you,
That's correct.
so you can,
And the
You
job
can-
was always the same up until, like I said, last year, and the one person did both jobs. Instead of, you know, it just doesn't seem right
longer
for the
than
person to
that.
be
It was
making.
last year.
so.
No, it's
Okay, guys,
been
one
for
at a
quite a
time,
few years.
one at a time. Barbara, go ahead.
The BMV agent has not been the tax collector for many years. The problem is, or the situation was, that the BMV agent's salary was taken out of the tax collector's salary.
Because she was the deputy.
Right.
She was
But the
deputy
BMV
tax
agent was separate.
Right, it was a deputy tax collector who served as a.
No,
that's not
Yes,
true.
it was.
No, no.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Why don't we have the tax collector speak on this? She knows what's been going on all these years, and she was the tax collector, and I did think she had a deputy. But that's where we need the clarification, Judith, can you do that?
I certainly can.
Thank you.
Yeah, in 2014, I began working for the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. Because of the parameters of my job, I could not process motor vehicle registrations, therefore, deputy was appointed as the BMV agent. She collected excise tax on vehicles only, and her salary was, drawn from my salary line as tax collector.
Okay.
So, because of the issues that have come across with payroll on various levels, it was decided that the position would become appointed and it would have its own salary, and that took place last year.
Okay.
So moving forward, if you were to put the responsibility of BMV agent, if you were to remove or or do away with that position, I think you have to follow whatever process Leslie has outlined as far as that goes. I don't know, you know, how that works.
Don't even be done here.
But you still, at this point, you know, we have no motor vehicle material in the building. Whoever steps up is gonna have to go through, is gonna have to be appointed or whatever. They're gonna have to go through training, and then DMV is going to have to return all of that material after the training and after they decide if it's going to happen.
So it sounds like the budget, the salary for the tax collector used to include the responsibilities of being a
Correct.
BMV agent.
Yeah.
To keep it clean, they are now two separate budget lines, whether it's the same person or not, correct? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just have a question, so we don't currently do that function, Judy? So,
Who was
like,
asking that? Oh, I'm sorry.
so I
No.
wanna register my car, cause I just bought a new car.
No, we're, the tax collector in the town of Moscow and their board has graciously accepted the responsibility of registering
Is that
for the
something
residents.
we should get back?
As far as the tax, the excise tax?
That's the goal,
Yeah, as far as the action or the excise tax, as far as processing here,
Yes.
yeah, that's between the board and BMV. I really don't know.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, go
But
ahead.
the material was basically removed because there was nobody to hold the position.
Idea.
I know that we're not on B and B, but kind of, I don't know, is that something that we can do? I mean, it's been awfully convenient to go down 3 days a week to register vehicles versus once every other week, morning, and
I agree.
it's pretty convenient, and it's, I just registered 14 vehicles and paid excise tax on them, and
Good
it
job.
was super easy. I mean, just, you know, just
We
saying,
only
throwing
have
it out
one
there,
day.
if you haven't done it, it was convenient, 3 days a week.
No,
you know, maybe.
But it's not a permanent situation, though, it's
It would,
temporary.
I guess, so, what
They
they're,
also was set up.
so, no. Any other comments on that? I would just say we have to make arrangements with the neighboring town to see if they, did you get it finally? It's been hitting me in the chin this whole time. You could still vote on a budget line for it, and then if,
You can't change how it's structured in this, and you have to vote on it
Right.
as it's structured.
as it's structured,
In
but
the warrants.
if
You
there,
can't change the
right,
warrant.
if there is a consideration to have another town do it, that's something that can be considered, but the budget line can still be voted on. Yeah, if you go ahead.
Yeah, so maybe a consideration is having, a meeting to discuss whether or not the residents would choose to continue with services from Moscow or have something in the Forks.
Yeah.
That
That's
might be
something
worth
that-
discussion.
Cause we
Because
can't
we
add
also have rapid renewal available, which a lot of people take advantage of. Although some people still like to come in and, you know, sit down and register their vehicles in person. But again, that also would have to be a forward-moving conversation with the town of Moscow, and if they wanna assume the responsibility full-time.
Because it was only a temporary situation.
Right.
Yeah, so that sounds like, cause we can't add an article to the warrant, but it sounds like
Correct.
something that could come forward
Can I
later,
change
so,
the article?
go
One
ahead.
thing you have to consider is who gets the excise if
So
Right
the
now,
town always
Moscow
gets,
Right now,
does
the
it.
town of the Forks is getting full reimbursement, but they can assess, an agent, more than an agent fee, a percentage of what they collect, they can flat monthly rate,
Right.
you know, so if you did pass this particular article, there could also be discussion, about reimbursement to the person who's doing it in the town of Moscow.
yeah,
Because that's
typically,
really a BMV agent right now.
right, so typically, with an out-of-town excise, you, the tax collector would, or BMV agent, if you guys have, for an out-of-town excise, the fee is higher for the town, so Moscow, instead of collecting $5 or $6 as an agent fee, they're collecting $6 or $7, so they get a little extra for the extra hassle of like keying in a new vehicle.
Right, but you're talking $1.
Right, right.
Right.
So they do, and typically the excise gets sent back to,
The Forks.
to the Forks. So say if I was covering for Emden because she was out on vacation for a week, I would collect the fees, but the excise, I would send a check to the town of Emden for all their excise. So if it was a permanent change, that, like you said, there may be, some additional fees incurred for that, but that would be something at a later date.
Right, but the town, if we do that, the town's missing that extra money by.
No.
If potentially, I
Yes,
think,
because you get an agent fee, and if you have another town do it, that town's getting the agent fee, not us. We only get the
The
excise.
person
portion.
The person who is actually registering, the
Not the
actual
town.
agent in the plantation,
Say that again?
many, many years ago, the agent in the plantation was awarded that agent fee. That person, whoever is the named
Okay, it was
agent.
different in our town, right, if we covered the Litchfield, we got the fee,
right,
but they got
Person,
the excise.
yeah, like
Right,
Joseph,
right.
if Joseph was your BMV agent when you came in to register your vehicle and paid your $5 agent fee, at the end of the year, or 6 months, or whatever, when they swept through, they would go into Trio, calculate everything, and then cut the check to that person.
that would be part of their salary, that's, most towns don't do it that way
No.
anymore, but go ahead, we'll.
Can we get back to,
Yeah.
the article?
So, we can go on and
You can't
they're
change
tied, but we'll discuss, we can discuss the other one later. So we have we've been moved to, move the article, no, that's not really what I want, anyway.
Need a motion to accept as read for
So,
the salary.
Yep, for a salary for tax collector of $6,200. Did we have an
Second.
official amendment
No.
for that? I don't think we did, so, okay. So if, seeing no more discussion, we'll, vote for the salary of tax collector of $6,200. All those in favor?
Yes.
I might count this one.
Right.
Okay, all those opposed?
I hear ya.
Okay, motion passes. Okay. Article 8, to set and raise the salary for the registrar of voters, present salary $1,050, recommended salary $1,050. Do I see a motion?
Motion to accept as written.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, of Article 8 as read, all those opposed? Okay. Article 8 passes. Susie. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so Article 9, to set and raise the salary for the BMV agent. Present salary, $2,400, recommended salary, $2,400. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to accept the article as read.
Second it,
What's your name?
Sue Pierce.
Any discussion?
Yeah, just to go back to the same discussion on tax collector, DMV agent. When we did this last year, the people didn't get a vote on that, so I'd like to, at some point, figure out a way to get this, because this was appointed without a vote. They changed the position from elected to appointed, excuse me, that's what I'm trying to spit out.
Okay, so one thing I also know is when a position, when you no longer have somebody in the position, if they quit halfway through their term or halfway through their year, the board has the ability to appoint,
Okay.
someone to fill the position like me. Like I was appointed for this very short time as a registrar and a clerk, so I could help you here, until the next vote for those positions. Going forward, as far as elected or appointed, that can be, we can sort that out at another meeting. We can check with election, or and probably MMA legal. Elections does state elections, they don't do a whole lot with towns. But I think, that would be my kind of recommendation, I guess. Does anybody else have any other discussion on Article 9?
We've had nobody and nobody's stepped forward.
Right. So, yeah, go ahead.
Can we just table this until we find out if we're even going to have a BMV agent? I mean, we don't know whether.
We'd have to go to special town meeting if you don't put it in the budget.
That's okay.
So,
That's okay.
okay, so that could be done if you guys you could table it, there would be nobody, so you would have nobody starting the process of becoming a B&B agent, until you had
A special
a
town
meeting, okay.
So can I
So-
get that?
So we have a motion to table Article 9 until a special town meeting, I just need to write it down. Is there a second?
Who did?
Charlie. Who's writing my words? Okay, any, other discussion on tabling Article 9? Or, okay. All those in favor of tabling Article 9 until, special town meeting? And all those opposed? I think the article is tabled, so. So it sounds like there'll be a little bit of research done on how to handle it. I'm not fluent in it, the whole, right, so, so I will take that as you directing the board to, look into the legality or the ability to elect or appoint, and to discuss, if I'm right, with the neighboring town, maybe Moscow, see if they would wanna do it permanently, so cover all that, and schedule a special town meeting in the near future.
And can I just add to that discussion with the current tax collector to see if she wants to do that? You know,
Right.
can we add that into the discussion?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just gonna make a couple of notes,
Yeah.
Okay. Article 10, to set and raise the salary for the animal control officer, present salary is $650, recommended salary is $650. Do I have a motion?
To accept as written.
Who seconded that?
I heard Susan. Yeah. Any discussion?
Who is our current ACO?
Bill Shaw from
Been, animal control office for like 5 years.
And you had a
Response to calls for animal control, there's not too many of them.
Okay, so who's the,
Bill Shaw
I'm
from
from Bingham.
Bingham. I think he's Bingham, is he Bingham's ACO as well?
Correct.
Yeah.
I did it for
Hamden
I
had
think
this
I got
young
one
kid
call
for
a year,
a year or
on the
two.
side of it.
My sister was the ACO in Solon for a few years, and she had to deal with the new kid at Emden, and she was like, you never get back to me, you know, cause you work a lot, we have dogs cross the bridge quite a bit in Solon and Emden, so, yeah, it might be Bill and Emden now too, I haven't asked Christine, so. Okay, any other discussion on the ACO salary line? All those in favor? All those opposed? Billy, one. Okay, motion passes. Article 11, to allow the board to appoint Brian Turner as plumbing inspector.
I make a motion, we accept it as read.
Second.
So, this is an article to appoint.
what?
No, this is.
Yeah, we don't,
The state appoints it to the board, so we have to accept it.
okay, so the state, okay, that makes a little bit more sense, so, the state appointed, and then. Okay, so, did you get who first, who motioned?
I did.
Okay. Any discussion on that? All those in favor of Brian Turner, and all those opposed, motion passes. Yay, second page. Okay. Article 12, to see if the plantation will vote to enact a citizen's petition as follows. To see if the people will vote to limit the term of all elected officials to 1-year term effective on the date of the next annual town meeting.
Make a motion to accept it as written.
Second.
Any discussion?
I think it takes a long time for people to learn these positions, and if somebody goes in and out every year, it's gonna be awful tough.
Yeah.
We feel like, it is like a yearly review, and so if a person is doing a great job, then they're gonna get voted in again. That's our position. Every other career has yearly, evaluations, and your evaluation would be, met by either positive or negative response from the voters.
Any other comments? Yep.
Yeah, I talked to the first assessor in Wellington, who's been serving for 11 consecutive years, and she said she had no problem 1 year, and she felt the people didn't want her, she wouldn't want to serve anyway. I asked her about the learning curve, and she said it wasn't that difficult.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, all those in favor of Article 12 as read? I'm gonna count.
It makes a lot of difference.
Hold on, I'm gonna start. All those opposed? Okay, motion passes 16 to 13. Article 13, to see if the people will vote to raise money from taxation for social security tax to be paid on employees per IRS law. Recommended, $18,500.
Make a motion to pass, motion to accept it as read.
Second.
See, Susan, I can put your initials, because I'll know who it is, 'cause I'll get to a few people. Okay, any discussion?
I just need some clarification. I do not understand. I know that we have to pay our 7.5% for social security tax as an employer, as a town. But something leads me to think that we're paying 15%. We're paying both our contribution and the employee's contribution. And I just need clarification on that.
Can the board clarify?
I don't know if I can work on that.
And why is it $18,500?
We have a few employees here. Last year it was, hold on. I'm looking. Article 13, last year it was 17,000.
What's our total, our payroll?
I don't have that figure in front of me. So this year with,
But if you take 15% of the payroll, I don't believe it comes out to that amount of money.
I don't have
Is
that
that both
answer
social
here.
security and Medicare maybe?
It says social security tax. Doesn't say.
Last
for
fiscal
IRS.
Cause I don't see where it says Medicare anywhere.
No.
Last fiscal year, we paid out 16,217.16.
I added up the salaries of all the, positions on the front page and multiplied it by 15%, and it came to a little over $6,000. So, and that's 15%. We are only supposed to be paying 7.5, and then the employees would pay 7.5.
Last year we paid like 16,000 through them.
Right, but I'm just wondering if that's
All
social
I'm telling
security
you
and
is
Medicare.
that if you multiply 15% from all those salaries, it comes to a little over $6,000.
But there's more
What-
salaries
what-
than.
No, I know, I
Yeah.
understand,
Right.
but still.
Okay, we had somebody with their hand raised. Did you have your hand raised? No?
Yeah.
This is also just the budget, so if we don't spend it, we still have it. If the audit shows that it's too much, we won't spend it,
Except for that it ends up being, in a.
going to next year.
Yeah, it's not
And
correct.
we get out here.
Right. It's
We're not
just based
spending
on
money,
what
it's
was
just the
spent
budget.
last year. Expected increases is what it was.
hopefully all the audits say that we're wrong and then we get this money back. We're not giving this money away.
Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, I have a question, so, just for clarification, if this is passed as is that the only thing that money can be used for, or is social security tax? So you're saying that if it's not that much, it goes,
It would roll over to the general fund.
but it goes to the general fund?
Roll
No, I'm
over
saying,
for
is
next
it
year.
dedicated only to social security tax?
Right, that's the only thing it can be spent on, because that's what you're voting.
Are we voting to cover both the employer and the employee's social security? Because it doesn't say if you.
No.
No, I don't,
No.
I don't know if you
I
can
know,
by
it's not really
law.
broke
Yeah.
down.
Well, then that is a huge overinflated amount.
Last year we spent almost $16,000.
Right, but what she's saying is a portion of it from the
No, I
employee
don't
and a
think-
portion of it from the town that you're paying in.
I don't know, and I don't have a treasurer right now that can help me answer that.
Right, so one thing, it's possible that that amount was sent in from, both the employee and the employers, but it doesn't mean it came out of the budget. That's, I'm wondering if that ended up being, the line that was sent in, that you send in both the employee and the employer's portion, maybe. Yeah, go ahead.
I make a motion to, pass the article with the stipulation that it's only the employer's, social contribution, and that we are not covering the employee's social security taxes.
So we have
But it's divided half and half.
so we have a, amendment to the article to, state, per IRS law, hold on. So for this amount to only pay for the employer portion of the social security, well, it doesn't even say Medicare, but it's social security, Medicare.
No, just
So-
social
I think it's
security.
hard to direct the article when you don't even know what it's representing. I think it's,
How could this even be in here if you don't know what it's saying?
Okay.
I'll second it.
So, yeah, thank you for the second, we'll just hold on, we can discuss, let me just make a note. Okay, so any discussion on the proposed amendment?
you have a discussion?
Yes, go ahead.
So Trio automatically generates that report as to what has to be paid out to the IRS, and to the state of Maine for payroll taxes. So that needs to be something that's looked at, was that set up wrong initially by Trio? So, because I was the treasurer for 9 years, so, that.
You have the payroll module?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and so you run that quarterly report for the IRS and for Maine State Revenue Services, and it automatically generates the report as to how much money has to be paid. So that's where you guys really need to look, Sandy, when you get the new treasurer in.
Go ahead.
So,
Because it should be covered both
just-
Medicare and social security.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Just wondering if it was perhaps maybe a misprint either somewhere in the warrant here or in the book, because it does state that this is payroll taxes. So is that inclusive of all of your federal social security, Medicare? Or, was it, I think that's exactly kind of what Heather was getting on, is that, is that our total amount of all taxes paid, and it was just
That's what
listed
it sounds like.
incorrectly?
There's a
Right.
line item in Article 24, if you've read through the warrants, that addresses payroll taxes.
I'm just wondering if it was perhaps somehow
A
a
typo.
typo, a double print.
A double dipping, maybe.
So, okay, go ahead. Okay, 1 second, we have somebody speaking, go
I
ahead.
agree with Lindsay, because the treasurer's report says the payroll taxes, the total payroll taxes paid out was $16,217. That's not the IRS Social Security one. I think that's where that figure's coming from, so I think this article is not written correctly.
Right.
And payroll taxes are already covered in the Article 24 for plantation charges. So again, can we table this article until we can get some clarification on it? It's a lot of money.
Then we can't pay our quarterly taxes, so, to the
Well,
IRS
if we
and
have
the
a
state
rapid
revenue.
special town meeting, we can.
Is there a payroll company for the
We've got that
Town?
payroll we
No.
got to get out.
I think it's just a mistake, but I don't think we wanna approve $18,500 and then turn around in Article 24 and approve whatever amount that is for payroll taxes. So there's no other expense out of the treasurer report that indicates anything is specific to Social Security. Many years ago, at a town meeting, it was the first time the town was notified that they had not been paying Social Security on their employees. It was way long ago.
Yeah.
And so it was brought up at town meeting that our employees were going to have to pay this contribution that we were supposed to have paid.
Yeah.
And it was voted at that meeting that we would pay that because it was our mistake.
You hadn't, right.
And that article has been carried forward ever since then. I think it's a mistake, but
So it's, yeah, it sounds like that article needs to
that
be abandoned.
happens, right.
Yeah.
But I think that we've got to have more clarification on that article before we can go
Or
forward.
if that's the case, taking the payroll taxes, federal and state line item out of the Article 24 and either keeping it separate.
Right, we've gotta do
Or-
something, we need
yeah.
some clarification on that.
So, quick, clarification, so if in Article 24, says that the payroll
You also have to factor in,
tax, is that,
CFW,
is that part of that?
and then follow the shoveling right, and.
There's nowhere it doesn't say that you guys pay Medicare.
Need a second on that?
Hold on.
I have a question.
Hold on, just one second, so we had so that was on the amendment, so we still, okay, so we're still technically on the amendment, go ahead.
Okay, I just have a question. Social Security tax, payroll tax, federal and state.
That's totally different.
Aren't they two different things?
Yeah.
Correct.
They're definitely two different things.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I
have
don't
three
believe that
taxes.
employer pays any of the state. They
Right.
don't.
So the employer only pays the Social Security.
Only the 7.5.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at the employees, are you totally aware of all the employees for the Forks Plantation? Taking into effect the CFWF representative, the person that's doing the lawn mowing, no, that was different.
No, you got
No,
school board, you've got
School
school
board,
board mowing,
agent,
you've got people who shovel winter maintenance.
There's a lot of salaries here.
So, yeah.
I just don't
So
think
it-
we're gonna answer that question tonight, because no one has the answer.
I just worry about not passing it, anything at all, is gonna,
We have to.
We have a lot of back payroll we're gonna make out.
payroll and, state, federal
We
filings.
have motions on the floor currently that are supported.
Yeah, so the motion on the floor is to amend, so I'm wondering if we can amend this to, instead of just stating social security tax, if it can be payroll tax? Employer's portion of payroll tax, can that be, I'm not sure.
You
if that-
can't change the article, it has to be acted on as presented. You can change the amount, but you
Right,
can't
you can change the amount,
You
okay.
can't change the intent of the article.
Right,
Right.
yes, that makes sense now
You
that
can't change the intent of the article.
I'd like to make a motion to pass the article as written with express interest in getting it resolved for next year's meeting.
I know this is, right, and this is a budget line, just that it doesn't have to be spent, so. Okay, so because we can't change the intent of the article, the amendment isn't valid.
Right.
Okay. So we do, okay, so we do have the motion on the floor for the article as written. We do have expressed, guidance to clean up this article, for next year to make sure it's clarified.
I
That's the
second.
description.
I second the motion.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
As read with clarification. Before next meeting.
Okay.
Next town meeting, right, Tom?
Please.
Next budget,
For
yeah.
the next budget.
Wait, who knows? And how do you second it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so that. Okay, so, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of Article 13? All those opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay. Article 14, to see if the people will raise money for the county tax. Recommended $137,715.34.
Make a motion that we accept it as written.
Second.
Any discussion?
Can't really find it
It's a
anywhere.
debt, you can't really do much about it.
Raise your hand.
Yeah, all those in favor?
Raise your hands.
All those opposed? Yeah, when I was on the school board, you have the debt line, and people would be like, well, we don't want it to be that much, they'd argue this debt, you're already committed, like they built the middle school in Northampton, they try to argue it's a debt, you can't really, you can vote on it, so you're aware, but you can't change it, so. Okay, so Article 15 is for the school board, I am not familiar with that, you guys, who handles that, do you want me to still read the
Yes.
articles?
Yeah.
Okay,
Typically, their superintendent is here, she's out of the country, so.
okay, gotcha.
Oh,
Okay, to Barbara Norman, a resident of the Forest Plantation in the county of Somerset in the state of Maine. In the name of the state of Maine, you are hereby required to notify the voters of the town of the Forest Plantation in the Forest Plantation, Maine, county of Somerset, and state of Maine for the district budget meeting described in this warrant. Oh, I guess it's, is that, to the voters, or is that-
Yeah, have to read everything.
to the voters of the town, let's state it again, to the town of the Forest Plantation, the Forest Plantation, Maine, county of Somerset, and state of Maine, you are hereby notified that the district budget meeting of the town of the Forest Plantation will be held at the Forest Plantation Municipal Building in the town of the Forest Plantation on Somerset, oh my God, Somerset, in September 28th, 2023, at 6 p.m. for the purposes of acting upon the following articles. Article 1, to see if the Forest Plantation will be authorized to expend for regular instruction for the 2023-24 fiscal year. Board of Directors recommends $13,000.
I make a motion that we accept it as read.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, good, no discussion, we're good, okay. Motion passes. That's nice, okay. Let's see, Article 2, to see what sum the Forest Plantation will be authorized to expend for system administration for the 2023-24 fiscal year. Board of Directors recommends $6,725.
I make a motion, we accept it as read.
Second.
Okay. Favor, any discussion, I should ask, okay. Anyone opposed? Okay. To see if the Forest Plantation will be authorized to expend on all other expenditures for the 2023-24 fiscal year. Board of Directors recommends $10,000. We have a motion.
Make a motion we accept it as read.
Ditto, ditto. Any discussion, I need to ask? No? All those in favor?
Who seconded it?
David.
I did. Susan seconded that one.
David motion, Susan second.
Sorry.
Okay, did I say all those opposed? We're good, motion passes. Okay. Article 4. Local EPS funding allocation, to see what sum the Forest Plantation will appropriate for the total cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act. And to see what sum the Forest Plantation will raise as its contribution to the total cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act in accordance with the Maine Revised Statutes, Title 20A, Section 15688. The Board of Directors recommends $8,529. You have a motion?
Make a motion, we accept it as read.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes. Do I need the explanation? I guess not. Okay.
No.
Alright, should have read that first. Article 5, additional local funds, to see what sum the Forest Plantation will raise and appropriate in additional local funds, which exceeds the state's essential programs and services allocation model by $20,769 as required to fund the budget.
Make a motion to accept the article as read.
Board of Directors recommends $20,769. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed?
Who seconded?
Susan Hathaway.
Trying to get my scribbles. Okay, motion passes. Article 6, total school budget summary. To see what sum the Forest Plantation will authorize the Board of School Directors to expend for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024 from the town's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, non-state funded school construction projects, additional local funds for school purposes under the Maine Revised Statutes, Title 20A, Section 15690, unexpected balances, tuition receipts, state subsidy, and receipts for the support of schools. Board of Directors recommends $29,725.
Make a motion to accept it as read.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Article 6 passes. And Article 7, to see what sum of money the town of the Forest Plantation will authorize to be taken from the school bus account and put into the town's general fund. The school board recommends $35,000.
Make a motion to accept the article as read.
No.
We gotta accept it in order to vote on it.
Right.
I second the
Do we
motion.
have a motion? Okay. Second, thank you.
Now discussion.
Okay, any discussion?
Why do you guys wanna take that money out of that account? I want an explanation.
Does anybody have?
Okay, the way that we looked at it, that money has been sitting there now for 2 years. We've set a precedent with Tom, okay, when Tommy was driving. Right now, there are no children in the work, it looks like there's no children in the works. To leave that money sitting there, we felt, the school board felt it would be better to release it to the town for their use, to put it in the general fund. Right now, if we were to go out, number one, the school bus that we have, that old tank, that is no longer available. They don't make it anymore.
No more four-wheel drive.
No, we would now not only look for the purchase of a new vehicle, you have to look at insurance, you have to look at a driver, which is gonna increase the situation. The Forks would not be the only town that would have parents driving their children to school. We also still thought of the option of, we could always go with the West Forks, as they have always done with us. And that's why we thought of releasing half of that money, evaluate, and probably release the rest of it next year.
The other thing is it's just sitting in account, and we figured the prices of cars are going up higher than our interest rate is. So the money would be used better now, and we can always raise it again later. It's still money that you've paid at some point, but it'd be more useful now than of 1% when cars are going up 10% per year. That's all the city exaggeration.
Okay, go ahead. Charlie?
I'm just wondering if this goes into the general fund, then it's just be spent on whatever, by whatever, I mean, is there
Offset taxes?
It would just reduce taxes.
offset taxes, that's what it'd be used for, not increase spending, offset taxes, okay. That's good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, the money historically has been raised from taxation, so it would have to go back to the general fund, but it could be earmarked for other things. But if it's going to be used to offset taxes, that should be duly noted in the minutes of this meeting.
Go ahead.
I don't think we should take the money out of that account. I think we need to leave $35,000 in there. $70,000 is just barely gonna buy a vehicle for the Forks Plantation. Should a family move in, they're entitled to have their children go to school in a bus with a driver insured. I know that's not an option for the West Forks. They do not have room for one more child in that Lincoln Navigator that costs them over $80,000. So we do not have the option.
No, it's purchased.
We don't have the option of moving any children into that community's bus. So it was taxpayers' money for a school bus, and I think that's where it needs to stay.
Are you making the motion?
I'm making a motion that we amend the article and that we do not take any money out of the school bus fund to the general fund.
I don't think, you would just vote it down, you wouldn't make an amendment to do that, so you would just vote it down. So, any other discussion, questions, comments for the school board?
Just one other thing, this was discussed at the school board majority voted that this is what they suggested to do.
The recommendation from the
Right, okay.
I was the director of the school board, it was a vote of 2-1, I was adamant then, and I am adamant now, to take the money in the fund for the bus.
So noted.
Any, yeah, go ahead.
One last thing. This was literally just to give you guys the option. It wasn't necessarily our choice, we decided to vote for it so you guys could have the option of what to do with the money. We don't care.
Yeah.
Either stays in the account or it doesn't, it's up to you guys.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just concerned if we have a handicap child move into the Forks tomorrow. I mean, we need to have a way to transport that child to school. We're obligated to do that. That would be another consideration, even if it was just one child. If it needed wheelchair access or whatever, we're gonna have to provide that.
Any child, disabled or not.
Yeah, so I guess right now we reimburse the student mileage.
Right.
So how would that differ if it was a special
Yeah.
needs student?
You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but we are not required to give them the bus. If we can choose not to drive them,
Right.
they are then required to drive themselves, we pay them the mileage.
And they
So
can
it-
appeal,
Huh?
and the parents can appeal, and it'll go back. The people in town of the Forks will buy a bus.
I'm not aware that it would be
Because we
appealed,
care.
but
I thought that was discussed.
When this town pulled out of SAD 13 many years ago, it was under the assurance that transportation would be provided.
I remember that.
It sounds like there's options for transportation, whether
Yeah,
it's by
we-
parent or.
But originally, in the withdrawal agreement and the outline that was put forth, transportation for both regular transport as well as extracurricular was provided.
Was provided, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanna say that not all parents can drive their kids to school. And I also wanna say that not all parents have vehicles. Not all parents can drive to Jackman every day. It's a lot of responsibility to put on parents.
I know when the bus was in failing measure, we were approached by the school board, to, transport or have Tommy drive himself to school, and be reimbursed for that. And so we put into works that he got his driver's license early as a 15-year-old after he got his permit. And he was given a conditional driver's license to be able to transport himself to and from school and be reimbursed by the school board for it. So, and we, we took on extra insurance and everything, because you had to have a certain level of insurance to be able to have your be able to transport your child more than what the state makes you have. And so we took on that responsibility because we had the ability to be able to do that, and we could afford to do that. But I would never want to, assume that another parent would be able to do that for their child as well. So, I just wanna make that clear that, you know, if we had gone to the school board and said, listen, we don't have a way for Tommy to be able to drive back and forth, or for Tom or I to drive him back and forth, they would have had to come up with a feasible way to be able to get him to and from school, so.
Any other discussion? If not, we'll move to vote on Article 7.
Did the reimbursement come out of the bus fund, or where did the reimbursement come from to pay that?
No, that came out of the general fund, because the bus one.
Came out of the school budget.
Yeah, it came out of the school budget.
Clarification. Okay, so, all those in favor, of Article 7 to move the $35,000 from the bus account to the town's general fund? All those in favor of doing that? All those opposed? Article 7 fails.
Thank you.
Good information? Yes, yeah, good information. That was last time. Okay, Article 15A. To see if the people will raise money from taxation for school assessment. Recommended $29,298.
Have we raised?
Oh, okay.
Make a motion to pass Article 15A as read.
Second.
So that covers the. Okay, I just didn't read the bus savings account, special ed CV,
Yeah.
okay, I just did that.
As
Okay,
well
so
as
it's as,
motion.
if it's as written, then, okay. All those in favor as written, 15A as written? All those opposed?
Yeah,
Okay.
now we're there, but could anyone just kind of tell me what that is?
What's that?
Briefly?
Oh, yeah,
It's
sorry, I
just
didn't
a-
really answer the discussion.
Raise the money for the articles that we just approved.
You
So
mean
they
the
do it as
special,
a-
Right.
Right.
you mean the special ed account?
Yeah, no, 15, well, yeah, I mean, just where it said school bus, I think, didn't understand or know what that was, so.
So we have the school bus, they have the school bus account, but they also have, we have a special line, and we have a special account for being able to cover special education costs, so for testing and anything like that, because where we tuition our students, special education costs extra money within the school district, so we have to pay that offset, for their special education instruction for the school, so,
Fund is just held there
yeah.
in case.
And voting on it each year, I think it, correct me if I'm wrong, it allows you to expend that money as needed.
Yeah.
If you didn't vote on it each year, it would kind of go
Right.
into the general
Yeah.
fund again. Okay, yeah, it allows you to expend it.
Thank you.
My
Yeah.
6 years on the school board helped me.
Yeah.
Stuff like this, I used to love being on a school board, so. Okay, Article 15B, to see if the people will raise monies for the non-traditional scholarship program, recommended, raise 0.
Make a motion to accept it as read.
As, can you recommend as written?
As written, sorry.
Just because I, yeah,
As written, I'll change it.
thank you.
I second.
Second.
Red, we don't have this.
Can I just add to the
Yes.
discussion?
Any
So
discussion?
I highly recommend anybody who wants to take advantage of this non-traditional scholarship fund to do so. It paid for 2/3 of my paramedic school. So, and my work paid for the other third and books and fees and everything, so, so this is like huge to be able to take advantage of as a citizen and resident of this town. So if you wanna further educate yourself, take advantage of that non-traditional scholarship fund.
So non-traditional student scholarship is, okay, gotcha, nice. Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor of Article 15B as written? All those opposed? Article 15B passes. Article 16, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate from surplus for the Forest Plantation students for school meals. The assessors may stop payment at any time if the parents do not apply for the free or reduced meals they are entitled to. Recommended, no action, no students.
Make a motion that we accept the article as written.
Okay, any second?
Second?
Barb, did you second that?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Oh,
Any
I have
discussion?
discussion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Were we ever reimbursed for the amount that was left in Tommy's account? There were quite a bit, okay.
We got a refund of like $387.
Yeah, okay, I just wanted to make sure that we were reimbursed from that, cause if not, I would,
We still
I
have
was
to
gonna
check, we
call
haven't
Jack.
cashed it yet. We've got it.
Okay.
Great, okay, all those in favor of Article 16 is written, all those opposed? Okay. Article 17, to nominate and elect a school board director for a 3-year term, from 2023, which would be July, technically the term is from July 2023, well, maybe not, 2026. Do I have any nominations?
Is anybody interested in being on the school board?
Lindsay?
Yeah.
You better have to
It's,
go.
it's not bad.
You can go together.
Yeah.
Something you can do together.
Sure, if nobody else absolutely wants it, sure.
Okay, I'm gonna nominate Lindsay for the school board.
Hold on.
We'll fight you, Sean.
Who's, second?
If not now at the meetings.
I second.
You didn't do the laundry. Barb did. You have it written, that's fine.
Denise Haynes. Denise.
Okay, any other nominations? Well, okay. Okay, all those in favor of, Lindsay, what's your last name?
Wiser.
Weiser. I knew it was a W. Okay, all those
You're not
opposed?
voting for it? You're gonna vote against it?
Oh, you are walking out on your broken ankle?
Okay, congratulations, Lindsay. To see if the people will allow the board, okay, Article 18, to see if the people will allow the board to approve a plowing contract.
I make a motion, we accept it as read.
Second.
Any
I would,
discussion?
well, I would, what's the information about the plowing contract?
There you go.
So-
Well, because we've been shut down, we haven't entered into any negotiations, but, there is some talk about the state maybe having a truck that they will loan, but we would have to come up with a driver, and that would be Karen Times before in the county would have to come up with a driver. I haven't gotten an update on that because we're kind of waiting to see what would happen tonight, see how we're gonna move forward with that.
Would that be a truck that has to have a CDL license, or are we talking about like a 2500?
Oh, no, it would be the regular state trucks that they have in the
State
truck.
truck with a CDL.
And,
But it could be a paid employee for the town.
right, it could be
doesn't need to be
partially, I don't know how it's gonna get set up, it's still being negotiated at this point.
I heard Ben Toll was buying it.
Ah,
I can speak a little bit about this though, for some information about
Oh, thank you,
the truck.
Thank you.
So the DOT is willing to provide, kind of, it sounded like at no cost to, when Carrot was dealing with this. But you just had to provide a driver. The CDL, typically, yes, you need a CDL license, but they are willing to, because it is plowing services, emergency services, they will allow a non-CDL driver to drive a plow truck in the event of a snowstorm. So that's a benefit. I think the bigger challenge is gonna be we can use the state garage to work on it, to do maintenance, repairs, but ultimately, they'd like to see a second truck or a backup truck. There is some discussion whether or not the DOT would provide a second truck if that truck was down. So, I mean, and I think that, all other avenues, as far as Caratunk is tried to go through and fail, so that's the option that's out there right now, is using a leased truck.
Do we know what section of road that was?
It's about 11 miles, so it's, for Caratunk anyway, it's Main Street up to Pleasant Pond, both sides, and then, the Lake Moxie Road, and there's a piece in between.
Gotcha. Our bus driver used to do the DOT plowing, when he did from Bingham to top of Derby Hill, so.
Any other
So,
discussion?
we're
or-
gonna have to start getting on this quick.
Any other questions?
Gonna disseminate some information when it becomes available.
Yeah, I definitely will share it to everybody when we can.
Okay,
Hopefully
so,
we'll find something.
okay, Article 18, all those in favor? All those opposed?
Who seconded it, Tom?
Oh, I had.
No, you made the motion.
I don't even know if I did that.
Yeah,
I mean,
she made
David,
motion.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I already forgot.
Okay, Article 19, see if the people will raise monies for the 23-24 salt supply, recommended $18,275.
Make a motion, we accept the article as written.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Article 19 passes.
Hold on.
I have. I was typing.
Yeah, I know.
Article 20, to see what sum of money the plantation will raise for participation in municipal support from UKV Ambulance Service.
He's supposed to be here tonight, he's not here.
Okay, so these are two options, or are these two separate things? to vote on?
Two separate amounts.
Two separate things, okay. Okay, so, 20A, will the people, raise $26,215.64 for the annual UKVAS budget, recommended $26,215.64. I'm assuming
I
that's
make
their
a motion,
contract.
we accept it as read.
A second.
And where it's in, yeah, we can change it anyway, so.
No.
Okay. B, 20B, will the people raise $2,621.56 to expend for the first two quarterly payments in 2024? Recommended $2,621.56.
Make a motion, we accept the article as written.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, Article 21, to see what sum the people wish to raise and or appropriate from surplus for A, fire protection from the West Forks Fire Department, recommended $13,000. I have a motion?
Make a motion, we accept it as read.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Just that, we have a toll booth fundraiser next Saturday, October 7th. Come through, drop money in the toll booth booths, support your fire department, so.
I'd like to
Yeah, go ahead.
make a request of the fire department. Could we get an invoice? The invoice that we get that I got from Lloyd is just a paragraph. It doesn't even state it's for the fire department. I know you don't give out your invoices, but
Denise, can
Why
you
you
take care of
looking at-
that,
yeah.
because you're the secretary?
Yep.
And Linda always used to do them.
okay. I know that, Ernie picked it up and then Lloyd's been doing, but Lloyd's pretty much said, this is your bill, and it didn't even state it was fire department. We need a little bit more of a formal invoice.
A little bit more detail.
A little bit more details.
That's the,
Believe me,
but-
I get
That's the
bill of sales.
administration, I can't speak to
I
that.
know, I just thought I'd bring it up. I just thought I'd bring it up that it wasn't getting carried through, that's all.
Yeah. Bill of sales for vehicles come through very, very minimal, like, they say, I sell this truck to so-and-so, and I'm like, what truck, what's your name, people who scribble it on a piece of paper, and I'm like, I don't know what truck they're selling, I don't know who they are, there's no signature on it, it's, yeah. So I can imagine that I've had invoices come through that Department.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Okay, so, any more discussion on 21A? All those in favor? All those opposed? 21A passes. 21B, fire insurance. Filter here. Recommended $5,800.
Motion we accept it as written.
Second,
Any discussion?
And what is this? Insurance for what? Fire insurance for a building, for the fire department building, the fire truck, this building?
No,
Just-
no, no,
What's
it's not
it-
for the fire department.
What's it, fire insurance for?
I believe for the plantation.
the Forks Plantation.
Right.
For the public building, or
I
for?
think it encompasses the buildings, I believe, it encompasses the land.
Well, why is it coming under the fire department article?
Because it's fire.
Because it's fire
It's fire
insurance.
related, it's,
Because that's the way we've always written it.
Is it more of a liability insurance?
No, you're right.
it's through Maine Municipal
To make sure,
Association.
I just didn't know what it was.
It's not for the fire department.
No,
So maybe.
it's
make it-
it's fire protection insurance for the town,
Okay.
Right.
in case of like a large fire.
Buildings. You got a few buildings.
So I'm just gonna make a note to maybe update the verbiage, maybe with an explanation as to what it is. Okay, so any other discussion on 21B? All those in favor? All those opposed? Passes. C, 21C, warden salary, recommend $541.42. So
Make a
the fire
motion we
warden.
accept it as written.
A second.
Discussion, or no discussion? Yep, all those in favor? All those opposed? Oh, tongue tied, okay. Deputy wardens, recommended, $216.56.
Make a motion we accept it as written.
Second,
Asterisk, okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay. Article 22, see if the people will raise monies for yearly cemetery maintenance. Recommends $3,800. The cemetery savings account has a balance of $11,880.32.
Make a motion we accept the motion article as written.
A second.
Any discussion? All those in
does this
favor?
include, does this also include like the upkeep, like the lawn mowing and stuff? Or is this just for, okay,
Is it mowing and does it include like
Headstone.
headstones or anything? Sometimes there's an extra fund for headstones.
Mowing comes out of the general, right? Is it come out of the-
Oh, yeah, we call it town clerk.
Right.
Well, I think that would come under payroll.
Hold on. No, I believe it includes mowing.
okay.
It does.
I just was making,
But doesn't that come under payroll?
It's broken down to the budget line for where it's spent.
So
That's not
cemetery,
included in payroll then?
No.
so that
No.
payroll would come out of that cemetery maintenance line, including like the cost of repairing.
well, no,
cemeteries.
because we've, in the past, we've not had a payroll employee, it's been a contractor.
For the contractor, yeah.
So this is
Okay.
gonna be, I mean, he's only moved twice, so.
So, okay, so you have an employee, so that payroll will come out of that line where it's previously been subcontracted through somebody 1099 probably,
Right.
so.
I'd say had an employee.
Or had,
Yeah.
will
We don't know
have
if he's
an
gonna
employee.
come back
Okay,
after
any
that.
other discussion on Article 22?
No.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, Article 23, see if the people will raise and appropriate money from surplus for yearly maintenance of Moxie Dam and for a long range maintenance fund. Recommended, Article 23, I'm gonna take, well, I guess I'll take them separately, I did everything else. Article 23A, raise $10,000 for long-range dam fund. Account balance is $78,902.49.
Make a motion we accept the article as written.
Second.
Any discussion on 23A? All those in favor? All those opposed?
Yeah.
23B, to appropriate for the following, dam operator salary, current salary $1,082.84, recommended $1,082.84.
I make the motion to accept as read.
Second.
Written.
Any, discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay. Excuse me, well, that's, let's see.
It's a second, it's a
So
separate
23B
salary.
is the, dam operator salary and
The
deputy, that was all part of that article. So as written, if you guys say as written, okay,
As
because I didn't read
written,
that section.
that's
Okay.
But you're gonna separate what it says for the deputy, is an increase.
Oh, because there is a difference, okay.
Yes.
So, okay, so there is a difference because I didn't read the deputy dam operator salary. Currently is $541.42, recommended $1,082.84. So if your recommendation, so as written or as recommended, you can amend your, if you
Okay. no,
do it
it's fine.
as,
It's fine.
As written.
as recommended, as written, as
I
recommended.
just wanna make sure you know
Yeah,
there's a difference.
I didn't,
We did.
I didn't get that, okay. As recommended. Okay. Article 23C, to pay $17 per hour for extra maintenance not to exceed $2,000.
Make a motion to accept the article as written.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Article 23C passes. Article 24, to see what sum of money the people will raise for plantation charges and town hall maintenance. Included expenditures are professional services, power, phone, internet, heating, miscellaneous supplies, UPS, FedEx, UPS, registry of deed services, computer supplies, office supplies, cleaning, payroll tax, federal, state property tax, professional dues and memberships, property maintenance, state fees, LPI, printing, municipal signs and supplies, recommended $66,000.
Motion, we accept the article as written.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Yep.
So under property maintenance for this line, I would like to see the town get rid of that, dock and replace it with something safer and, better. It is a huge safety hazard and I am surprised nobody has gotten hurt. I have actually had to remove splinters from people that have come over to my house and they said they have splinters on their feet or their hands from the dock. So it's a huge safety issue, and I think we should be moving to an aluminum dock, that's lighter weight and better maintained, so.
That was on our docket to take care of
Okay,
for next year.
but I just, as someone who sees a lot of people coming over to my house with splinters.
Because they know you're
That dock
Yeah.
is also kind of starting to fall apart a little
Yeah.
bit, too, you know, so.
for that.
Chris, you have information on that anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
The aluminum dock
information on that.
that we discussed a year
Yeah.
ago? Yeah.
I'll make a note in the notes that, you know, you guys directing them to look into it, to take care of that.
It's already been,
Okay.
we've been looking into it for a while.
Yep. All those in favor? All those opposed?
No, wait.
Oh, wait, was there another discussion?
Yes. We,
Oh.
okay, I wanna make an amendment to, raise $10,000 right now for immediate use, and to, during a special meeting, have all of these items itemized, and a number assigned to all of these, so that we know what we're paying for. Like the payroll tax and federal, you know, is that, I mean, professional dues, what is all this stuff, professional services? We would like to know what they are, so, and how much they are, yes. So, an itemized, list.
A line item, just a line item budget, that's
But
all.
to raise $10,000 right now for immediate, use of
Bills that you know.
CMP and whatever.
So, just one thing I do wanna mention is that, unless you have a special town meeting very quickly, it's postponing the commitment, the tax commitment, further out to get taxes to be able to pay these bills.
Well,
So
that's
just-
because it wasn't provided to us initially. I mean, it's just this open-ended, we
Right,
have no idea what we're spending this money on.
well, right,
Well, I mean,
we
it
don't
goes
list
under
them
these
individually
categories, but
either, it's kind of part of, maintaining the town, I understand your
there
point
must
in
be a
doing it,
budget
but.
though, you must have a budget.
We do, we have a budget line and we can spend within this would be like our general charges, and we can spend within that for these things,
But a lot of these other things that we just voted on, I mean, tell us how much a general amount of each of those things. The deputy fire warden and all those
The
things.
treasurer report has a lot of these details in it.
yeah, we
Well,
have the list
I
from
don't
last
see
year.
professional services anywhere.
Professional services could be like the cleaning of the furnace,
The
the
lawyer,
maintaining
the
of
auditor.
the fire things.
legal services, the auditor.
The legal services are not included in this.
But it
Yeah, I
doesn't
know.
say, that's the thing. It
That's
doesn't
my
clarify.
problem, it's just, that's certainly considered a professional service if you're an auditor or a.
The auditor is a separate
Separate
line
line
item.
But there's, I would like to know what we're spending $66,000 for, not to the penny, but just some idea.
It says it right there, and you can break it right down in the treasurer's report.
It's,
Yep.
I mean, and it's a huge increase this year. I mean, it's,
Nope.
I don't
Last
see-
year was 64,000, this year is only 66.
well, so I wasn't at the town meeting last year, cause we were away. But that's a $21,000 increase from 2 years ago. That's huge.
I don't know, about 2 years ago,
Yeah,
last year.
2 years ago, it was $21,000 less. It was like $44,000 or $45,000 2 years ago, when I was looking at the book from 2 years ago. So, I mean, to me, that, like, when I was looking at the book from 2 years ago and comparing numbers, because I don't have the book from last year, a $21,000 increase from 2 years ago, that sent up a huge red flag to me to be worried about, so I just,
Services have gone up, things are more expensive.
I get that, but
What's the-
But back to my initial question, you kept saying it came off the treasurer's report, where's the fee? I mean, how do I find these? The first one that's listed under this article, is professional services. So you're saying it's all kinds of things that you have to lump together here? Why shouldn't there be an account for professional services then or something, so you could refer back to
There
that?
can, but you can vote,
We're just trying to
For,
itemize
like-
it and give you an idea.
like a lot of times you can vote by department, and then you can spend within that department. The town doesn't necessarily say, okay, you can only spend this much on office supplies and this much on heating oil and this much
Right,
on
I mean, it's a
whatever,
block.
but, so
I'm not
sometimes it's,
considering
you
that
can pull, you
professional
vote on an amount, and you
services.
can pull from that amount,
Mm.
because these things all vary year to year, so that's kind of probably why it's in one versus breaking it all down individually, but.
Right. It's under the umbrella of plantation charges, and that's,
Well,
wants
where's
to
the
find
account?
what we use that for.
But where's the account on the treasurer's report for plantation charges? There isn't. Why would it only be listed under that?
Sharon,
Hmm?
it's the paid out items
Where is that?
on the treasurer's report, the third one down.
Paid out items, okay, registry of deeds, okay, so we take that, so we have to add up that, so non-traditional scholarship is a line item we vote on, so that's not plantation charges. A lot of these, insurance, we voted on insurance, that's a line item. These aren't, I mean,
It costs a lot to maintain the buildings and do
I
everything
know,
we
but
need to do.
I just don't understand how
it's
you
definitely
get
not
a report saying how you spent that money. Within reason, it isn't every dollar, but it's just so general, it's just, you said it by law, so.
Okay, was there a second on the amendment?
Yes, there was.
I wasn't sure, I didn't write it
There
down.
wasn't an amendment.
Yep, there's
There is an amendment.
There's an amendment on the floor to raise only $10,000.
I'll second it if it hasn't been seconded. And again, we can just cover this in a special town meeting, we are gonna have one.
Okay, any other discussion on the amendment? Yeah.
I don't think $10,000 is gonna cover
Not even gonna
much,
cover it.
because we have like past due electric bills, we have,
Yeah.
I think just CMP is gonna pretty much take up $10,000, because we're so far behind on our bills at this point.
Someone should be able to tell us how much we owe out right now in past, in bills that are accumulated.
I haven't written them all down, I have them all together, I haven't itemized them.
We just need clarification, that's all we're asking.
Okay, so maybe something we can think about next year is that when we come to town meeting, that this plantation charges, town hall maintenance thing is broken out into line
What's
items.
included?
So, and, you know, and that there's a, you know, that we know what those line items, so that way we can just pass this, get this done, and then,
Maybe you'd like to give them some information on what Ron Smith is coming back to do with Karen to correct the situation.
Correct. A lot of the, chart of accounts and that kind of thing, we're gonna be doing some work on that and getting, the accounts more channeled so they'll be more easier.
Well, that's
to-
all we need, that's
Yeah,
all
I know,
need.
and we have to do
That's-
some work on that with the auditor when he comes back.
Well, we don't know the status of the auditor at all.
Well, we haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Just ask, just for, relative figure, not to be embarrassed, but how much do we owe just bolsters right now? And as an example of
Like
how much.
18,000.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get the message out. We need to pay the phone bill, we need to pay the light bill, we need to pay bolsters.
Yeah.
We have full dumpsters,
We
people.
cannot put
No, we
these
do.
crimps on this.
I think next year
And
we
we've
should
got
have
to
an
get bills
itemized list
paid,
for
and
everything.
I don't think 10,000 or
There's anything wrong with
30,000 is
asking.
enough.
That's right.
Okay, one at a time, who
probably
wants to
gonna
speak?
cover
I think Chris is present.
And I
Say-
retract my, that
And I,
You wanna, okay, so she's going to.
I think we need to make a motion to pass it as written.
yeah.
Okay, so we do have a motion for, Article 24 as written. We have the amendment retracted, revoked. So does anybody else have any things to say about 24?
Just that next year it be broken down.
Yeah, I made a note for them.
That way there's no questions
I couldn't get into
and,
trio, so I couldn't
Yeah,
break it
no.
down myself.
no, I
So
can.
do a general,
No, I understand.
general
So-
budget, okay.
I
So-
saw that.
All those in favor of passing Article 24 as recommended? All those in favor, all those opposed? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
I'll find that.
24A, to see what sum of money the people will raise to establish a specified legal services account.
Make a motion to accept the article as written.
We need a
It's not
recommendation for a
written. It's not written.
dollar amount.
yeah,
There's no recommended amount.
Recommend zero.
Currently, we do have some legal fees. I do not have an update on the status of the bill.
then we need to know these.
I
things.
know that,
You must
Sharon.
be able to add that up, you've got a bill. You-
I have not gotten a bill since last November
And what was
29th.
that amount? I don't even know
Those
what that
bills
was.
have been paid.
Well, where is it listed on the treasurer's report?
It should be on the treasurer's
Well,
report.
find it for me, please.
Oh my God.
Was there a second to raise $0?
I second
Yeah,
that.
We have a bill, we need to, we have legal fees that are coming in and
Well, that's gonna have to have a special town meeting then. We've got to have some clarification and some transparency. That's
Do you have a
our
bill,
big
Sandy?
issue.
I do not have a bill, an updated
Since
bill.
last
You had a bill
November.
last
I can't believe
November.
Woodcock hasn't billed us.
You had a bill last November.
Why would he not bill us?
I have asked him, Chuck, several times.
Well, how
I've
much was
asked
the
him.
bill last November?
Right, the last bill was dated in November that we paid
And how much was that?
10,000 something. And we've had a lot of activity.
I know you have.
Oh, I know, and it's a concern, and I wanted to have that answer for you.
And where did that 10,000 come from the last time? General fund?
Plantation Fund.
Transportation trust.
So I make a motion that we table Article 24A, until we have, more specified information available.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Second.
that's fine, that's fine.
So,
Seconded.
Thomas, right?
Thank
Would you
Retract.
retract
David.
yours?
I'll retract
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't,
So that means no money can be spent on legal fees until,
till you approve it.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Unless it came out of professional services, unless it came out of the general, the plantation fund,
No.
but nothing specific to this. Who seconded the tabling of the article?
I did.
Chris did.
Chris.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. We don't know what it's gonna be.
Okay, so all those in favor of tabling Article 24A? All those opposed? Okay.
I know, I've been slow enough, keep on some of them too.
Okay, Article 25, to see if the people will raise money for the annual audit for the fiscal year 23-24. Recommendation, $10,000.
Make a motion, we accept the article. as
I have
written.
a question about.
Oh, hold on.
We
need
get
a-
a, we get a, we get a.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, now we can discuss.
Hold on.
Okay.
My question is, it says for the fiscal year 23-24. That's our current fiscal year right now.
Correct.
Yep,
Is that the right date, Sandy?
to be,
Well,
but that's
I have
not the
an update.
audit year,
I
right?
have
You're
an
gonna have to pay
update.
for the audit.
That's
for
the ex-
this.
Well, we can't change this article. It's as written, right?
I have an update with, I have here second engagement letter from R.H.R. Smith for the 2022 audit,
Yes.
that he's working on
Is
now.
that 21, 22, or 22, 23?
21 to 22.
Right.
All right. For the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022. There's more work to be done on that year. The objective and services to be performed is bank reconciliations and taxes reconciliation review and assistance, and fund balance and budget review for sufficient article funding for purchase, to purchase property. This is an engagement letter not to exceed $5,000.
And this is for 21-22.
Correct, which would be part of that $10,000, and then,
Well, that's not what this
No.
article
That
says.
says 23-24.
What happened with the 22,
23,
I think
that
it's
was my
supposed to
question.
be
I
22.
believe that is wrong.
could be an error in the.
I think it's supposed to be 22, 23.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 22.
It's supposed to be 22-23.
So with
fiscal year on
With
But we
the
can't change this,
type-
so we just have to scratch this article.
I believe with the typo, something like, say something,
That's
well, that's
okay.
a,
That's not,
big typo.
that
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean a typo.
But to finish the 2022 audit, we do have to engage,
That has nothing to do with
That has
Article
nothing to do
25.
with that, though.
It doesn't have anything to do with this article.
That should be a
That
separate
should be a
article.
separate article altogether to be approved by the
Sean has
voters.
his hand
So
up.
it'll have to be a special town meeting.
I don't actually remember this. Do we do an audit every single year?
Yes,
Supposed to.
we're required to
And
by
it's
law.
So we,
Always done before town meeting.
yeah, so would we have approved those funds
Yeah.
last year for 22, 23? This is
No.
approving the funds for this coming year?
No,
Or do we
no,
close?
we're always a year behind.
Okay, that's all I was asking.
Yeah.
Good.
You're
Okay.
under arrest.
And last year we had a second audit, so that's.
Because it usually
Yeah,
isn't
we've
complete
exceeded
in
those.
time.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we pre-approve it or paying what
Right,
we
no,
owe.
we're always a
That's
year
the thing.
behind, but now we're several years behind.
But in order to finish the 2022 audit, we need to be able to
And
sign
that should be part of the next article in the special meeting that you're gonna have to, this other stuff that
So-
we're tabling, because.
And didn't you say professional services could be an audit in the general fund?
It could be.
Okay,
Because
so potentially those, like you said, professional services could come out of that. You could
But I
still-
didn't wanna engage with this without letting you people know what was going on.
Well, we didn't have a vote on the first one.
Well, this is progress, don't you think?
Yes.
Thank
Not
you.
necessarily.
Yes, no, it,
We have to.
So what do we do about the dates being wrong? Do we?
I say we ask that it be fixed when they write the minutes and publish them online. There've been no town meeting minutes since 2019, put on the town website. So,
Cause they're there.
they're not there.
No, the minutes are here.
We
Oh,
have,
right,
we
but
have
they're
them.
not on the website though.
When did you
So-
start putting the minutes on the website?
I don't know.
In 2019, they were in there. So, cause I pulled them up to be able to look at them, so.
And I have a question, was he paid for the, I guess.
The second audit for 2021 was $5,000.
And he got paid for that?
He was paid for that.
Okay,
The
so
2022 audit,
Was 7,000.
we paid $7,000.
Okay.
And this is an additional $5,000 more for that same audit year.
And it still isn't
finish it
complete, so there's going to be another,
No, this is
this is
the
the, this is
totality
to go
of
forward
it.
with it,
Yes.
okay.
So can I ask, are you, so you guys, I think something was stated, you guys vote, because you guys have the combined years, that at your June town meeting, you vote to raise money for your audit for the previous year?
Correct.
For the so say in June of '23, you're paying for the 22-23 audit.
Yes,
So if you pass this one, you could start paying ahead, you could start voting.
We're still gonna vote for the one that's gonna be done this
so
winter.
past that we can't pay ahead.
Right, so, but if you, could you, if this was, this would be for 23-24, which will come up in June of next year, you have $10,000, at the special town meeting, you could vote to allow $5,000 of that fund to pay for the
I
one
think
that
we
she's.
just need to clean it up at another meeting, because that's way too.
But we need to get this done as soon as possible.
Is that 5,000, does that
We'll have a
include the
town
work
meeting
he's
in
gonna
7
do
days.
to the trio or to the chart of accounts and all that?
That,
Is that the 5,000?
Yeah, that's the closing wrap up for 22.
Correct.
That's what you need
yeah,
to move forward
that's
with
what it
that.
is.
Okay.
And
But
the
we're not
treasurer is
voting
not
on that in
gonna-
this article.
The treasurer is not gonna move forward until they come back.
Combine them. Okay, go ahead.
So if the quote is 5,000, why are we raising 10?
Cause this is
To
for
pay
a
for-
different audit that we're
I think it was
voting on.
5,000 for one audit and 5,000 for this
So
year's.
you didn't break it out then, on this
No.
article,
And you
so you
didn't
should
put
have
the
had
years.
X amount for 22 and then
And I
for
didn't
the
break it out
23
for the
audit.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah,
I
should have
did
been the
not.
22-23 and then 5,000 for the 21-22, correct? I think is what it should have been,
Right.
but.
Can we
And
table
and we
this, I
shouldn't
make a
be
motion to
approving
table this
any
to
of
the
them
next,
for 23,
I make a motion that we
24.
table this article to the next emergency meeting we're supposed to have for the other
I sec-
articles we tabled
I
already.
second that.
Yes.
Hold on.
You vote, you,
I'm in favor.
No, we had a motion.
Hold on,
Chris is
hold
like-
on. Amended that we table it?
Yep, so, and who seconded the table?
I did.
Okay, any other
Chris is ready to
discussion
vote.
on the motion to table? All those in favor of tabling Article 25? All those opposed? Okay. Article 26. To see if the people will raise the LUPC fees, recommended $11,374.71.
I make a motion, we accept it as read.
Second,
Any discussion? All those in favor?
It's really not up for debate, we
Right.
gotta pay it.
Gotta ask, but,
A lot of that is in interest because we haven't paid it.
okay, whoops. Okay. To see if, Article 27, to see if the people will raise money for the yearly trio contract fee and web upgrade, $8,375. So I
make
have
a
a
motion we
motion.
accept the article as written.
Second.
I'm not following behind.
I got it. It's kind of easy because I have the same names. It makes it easy for me.
Brian.
Thank you, appreciate it. Any discussion?
Wait a minute, does this include any training?
Actually, that's not the right amount.
Hold on.
So is it,
I knew I had to catch up with you guys.
is there any training involved in that amount that you do have?
No.
This is
No,
just
no,
the
this-
contract, what Trio
this is the
charges for
contract.
the.
No.
And actually, the
Trainings
bill
would
that
be
we
covered
got,
under
the
professional.
bill that we got for Trio, the bill
All right.
is not 8,375, it is 10,751.96, that's the bill.
Could you say that again?
Say that again?
10,751.
So we gotta amend that, I mean, you can't change.
They're just changing their recommendation, the dollar amount isn't within the article, so that can be, that's why you don't put the dollar amount in the article unless you know, like a debt payment, yeah,
Unless
you
you do
could,
it.
but,
Right, because
yeah.
they change the amount.
So the recommended amount is now $10,751.96. What's your, does your motion still stand on this new amount?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
this is them.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and your second still stands, okay.
I was a little confused for a second.
Right, I'm
What
sorry.
if I had to make another motion?
It's right.
I
Well,
can't
that's why
remember
I'm
if you
like-
made the motion and I seconded it, or.
Right? I get it. I just keep swapping your names back and forth. That's all right. Okay, so Article 12, all those in favor, or is there any other discussion? No? All those in favor of Article 27? All those opposed? Okay. 27A, to see if the people will authorize expending money from surplus for the annual municipal website licensing and maintenance fees. Appropriate, recommendation is $1,200.
Make a motion, we accept the article as written.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd just like to see, that we put all meeting minutes that are finalized on the website for the public to be able to
And, yeah,
read.
part of that
Um,
making the, you know,
Cause I can go on, like, my hometown's website, and I can read minutes from all their select board meetings, all their school board meetings, everything,
It's,
so.
yeah,
so it's.
really getting late.
Well, I'm sorry, we need to have discussions, Barbara.
Yeah, so it's a duty of the, typically a duty of the clerk, or it could be a duty of the
Yeah.
board, but.
Yeah,
That's
I,
the duty of the clerk.
my comment is, as a clerk, I would like to have the password access to the website so that I can maintain it.
That's something you can
We
discuss
have,
with the
we
board,
have,
yeah.
we have somebody that takes care of it.
I know, who isn't very, there's still information from the, you know.
Moving forward, we will discuss it.
Perfect.
Okay, so, all those in favor of Article 20A? 27A, sorry, my bad, 27, I catch myself, okay. All those opposed? Okay. 27B, see if the people will vote to authorize the Board of Assessors to accept and participate in the Maine Connectivity Authority, any agreements necessary to install fiber internet in the Forest Plantation. Due to the rural location of the Forest Plantation, there are no contributing funds required.
I make a motion, we accept the article as written.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Yeah.
All those opposed? Okay. Article 28, see if the people will authorize appropriating money from surplus for membership to the MMA, which is the Maine Municipal Association. Recommendation $1,584.
Make a motion, we accept the red.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? None. Article 29, to see if the people will raise money for MMA, general liability, workers' compensation, property and casualty insurance, and forest fire liability coverage. Recommended $9,500.
I make a motion to accept as read.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Article 29 passes. Fingers on the front. Good. Okay, Article 30, to see if the people will appropriate money from the surplus for the 23 update of the plantation by Parker Appraisal Company. Recommended $5,000.
Make a motion, we accept the article as written.
Second.
And any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Article 38, to see if people will raise $15,000 to be set on in a specified account for the revaluation of the forest plantation in 2027. Recommendation $15,000.
Make a motion, we accept the article as written.
Can we get a little
Second.
explanation?
Yeah, what is this?
Any discussion?
Does anybody want it here?
Who
What
seconded
is that
it?
for?
I seconded
She
it.
said, yeah.
Here, wait a minute.
So any discussion on that?
One second. I gotta keep up.
I was gonna say,
All right.
You gotta be kidding
brought to our attention that our valuation had slipped to 82% for the town. Maine Revenue came in and met with Judith and worked with Judith, and she wants to probably speak to this as far as the 25% evaluation.
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Maine Revenue Services, has currently begun to use sales ratio information from the COVID period. We all know what happened during the COVID period. People sold property, got a high return on their original investment. So in smaller municipalities, it has a pretty, hard hit on the valuation base because we're not like a Sebago Lake area. Although our waterfront is right up there. The second thing that happened was they had a change at the helm. There's a new guy that came in. He changed the formulation, which meant that basically everything that they use for the ratio analysis piece that actually determines the valuation of the municipality was revamped to accelerate municipal valuations. And so what happened was it actually drove down the valuation. And you're probably thinking, well, that's not so bad. But what happens is in our town, because we have a very high, we have one tree growth account, Beirut, it's millions of acres that we're reimbursed for. We have homestead exemptions, we're up to about 22 or 23 homestead exemptions. The state reimburses the municipality, 75% of that. We're looking at personal property tax exemptions, solar exemptions, we only have a couple of those accounts. But all of these things, when they start working across the board and they start generating the reimbursements to the town, we're not at 82%, obviously, getting 100% reimbursement. We're getting less than that. And it adds up to, if we were there, it would add up to a revenue loss of close to $32,000 in reimbursements. That's a big hit for us. So, it's not only, it's not gonna stop going up this year. The next couple of years are actually going to, there's gonna be a similar effect. So Maine Revenue Services Representative Wanda Lucas suggested a 25% one-time increase this year, which should carry us through the next 2 years. And in the fourth year, have a reval. Whether we need to save or put aside $15,000, I mean, I think we can do, $10,000 for 4 years and then have the reval done, but that's pretty much where we're at. And their Maine Revenue did this because there were actually very small communities, like in the county, in Washington County, Aroostook County, some in Waldo and Kennebec, that, their mill rates were at literally, just a smidgen over $3 a thousand. So obviously the state wasn't happy with what they were getting, and they did a complete turnabout on the whole process. So we are an unusual entity. We have a small population. We have a very large tax base and valuation. Again, we inherited NECEC. That was just roughly about 14.2 million in additional valuation in the past 3 years. So we were obviously looked at very closely because of that. So that's pretty much where we're at. It increased, I think we went up about 10 million overall from the work, what I've done so far.
The work that we've done so far.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna start tucking away approximately 60 grand over the next few years to pay for it?
I don't think it's gonna be 60. I don't think, cause they can't base it on valuation dollars because it's inflated because of NECEC and, so I think $50,000 would be a fair, we had it done back in 1980 something. It was just about 21,000, so Bob Gingras, our current appraiser, figured about 50. And he's been doing the town for well over 20 years, so it's gonna take him less time and effort to do the work and put together the reval. But he will have to go, and I think one of the big things we're gonna see change, and again, nothing we can do about it, is personal property. That's gonna be where the work's gonna lie with the businesses.
Bob's not gonna retire before we have to do this.
He's agreed to do it, if in fact that's, he's agreed to do it, but that's not, you know, anything I can speak to, that's a board
It's a
decision.
long ways down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming up.
Sneak up fun.
Yep.
We're in the process of doing a townwide revale, but we haven't taken our totals, that'll take that next year.
We have a motion for this, right?
We
Yeah.
have,
And seconded, yeah.
yes,
You
we
guys
do.
are gonna
I put them in the wrong spot, so.
Dig in a little bit more as time progresses and adjust the annual contributions accordingly, I assume.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Are
That's
you
it.
talking, I'm sorry, were you
No,
talking
it's
to me? I was
talking
listening down. Oh, okay.
In general, text, we stated something about adjusting maybe next year, it only had to be 10 because the total's gonna be, you know, different, so. Okay, so any other discussion on 30A? All those in favor of passing Article 30A as written? All those opposed? Article 38 passes. 31, to see what, if the people will set an amount and raise money from taxation for the long-range road account for any future expense incurred. Recommend $10,000, account balance $137,752.41. Road maintenance account has $8,474.18.
Make a motion, we accept the article as written.
Second.
So that's 31, okay. This is 31A. Okay,
There's two.
right, but you have, there's one recommendation here, there's 3 recommendations in this, so is it 31? And then you have 31A and 31B? Okay, okay,
So there's three.
3, just making sure, okay. So,
I have one question,
Yep.
Sue and Chris. Where do we stand with the road shoulder work? Is that something that's gonna happen this year or no, or?
I wouldn't think it would happen this year.
Okay, thank you.
okay, all those in favor of Article 31 as written? All those opposed? Article 31A, see if the people will raise necessary monies for the payment to Key Bank for interest payments due on the 2018 Moxie Road bond. Payment will be due December 23rd and December 2023 and June 2024 to total $10,586.52. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion, we accept it as read.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Article 31B, to see if people will raise the bond principal payment for the amount of $78,125 due in December 2023. Recommend $78,125.
Make a motion, we pass it as read.
Second.
Change it up on Susan. We brave speed. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? The discussion is the pink thing coming up. Okay, no discussion. Article 32, to see if the plantation will appropriate money from surplus for streetlight operation.
Motion.
Recommend $5,000.
Make a motion, we accept the article as written.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Article 32A, to see if people will vote to allow the Board of Assessors to contract with CMP to begin the conversion process to permanent LED bulbs.
Motion, we accept the article as written.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in
What's it
favor?
gonna cost?
Oh,
It's gonna actually save us money, like $1,300 a year if we get it in, get the conversion going.
And the light's a lot nicer for the environment, you can actually see the
There's
sky.
LED lights,
Yeah.
but I just needed your permission to go forward with it. Could've had this started back in May, but, you know.
okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Okay. Article 33, to see what sum of money the people will raise and appropriate from surplus for the operation of the transfer station. Recommendation $30,000 and,
Raise 30 and.
raise 30 and appropriate 25.
Make a
Gotcha.
motion, we accept the article as written.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Article 34, to see if the people will raise $5,833.17 for the annual 2023 CFWF operating budget share. Recommended to raise $5,833.17. Yeah.
Make a motion, we accept the article as written.
A second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Article 35, do the voters wish to raise money from,
Go ahead, sorry.
do the voters wish to raise money from taxation and appropriate money from surplus for the following donation requests? A, Baker Mountain Ski Tow for 1,000, the Forks Fish and Game Deer Feed 2,000, North Cove Association 2,000, Pleasant Pond Protective Association 1,000, JRCA 250, Jackman After School Adventure 1,000, Old Canada Road Scenic Byway 500, Lake Moxie ATV 3,600, SEDC 100, Forks Area Trail Club 6,500, Central Maine Pyro for the 4th of July fireworks 2,700, MPBN TV $100, St. Peter's Food Pantry 500, Lake Moxie Campers Association 1,500, Red Cross Association 250, totaling $23,000. Recommended $15,410 and appropriate $7,590.
Make a motion to accept the as written.
These were the requests, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so as recommended, we'll say, just because there are so many, okay.
And then we can discuss it.
Yeah. As recommended, and we have a second, okay. Yep, okay, any discussion on any of those? Yeah.
Yeah, actually three. First one is Pleasant Pond Protective Association. I believe last year we voted that out, that we didn't contribute anything to them. It's a very limited area. Forks people really don't have any access to it. Majority of population of the Forks.
Which one was that, Bob?
PPA.
Pleasant Pond.
Bond Protection
Right, we
Association.
did vote that out.
Can I make a request to
Yeah.
address these line by line?
You wanna do them individually?
Yeah, I
So-
second.
Okay.
it would be clear.
So we just vote, okay.
Yea or nay?
I guess when I first started reading it, I guess I didn't really realize what that was at first.
Can we just do a yea or nay?
Can we do a line
On
item?
each one.
Can we do a line item?
So the thing is, there's the request, and there's not a recommendation beside it, so you would be voting on the requested amount.
Yeah.
So, just so you know, so whatever their recommended total is down here at the bottom, I have no idea what that breakdown would be, so just so you're aware, if you vote more, it would be higher. We usually, but we have the amount requested, and then the selectmen recommend a certain amount, but, okay, so we can do it individually. So we'll do, Baker Ski Tow, $1,000.
I have a question. Has anybody in this room skied at Baker Mountain for the okay.
I always wanted to.
One person has.
I'm taking a sled down it.
Were they even open for more than a week last year?
They were open, yes.
They
Yeah.
are.
I think it's a great asset for the community in the area, but as long as somebody's getting some use out of it, cause it doesn't seem like it gets a whole lot.
Can we make it a snowmobile
Depends on the stone.
It's not steep enough for hill
Oh,
climbs.
that's true.
You can if you're hauling
It's
me
like
out.
15 bucks,
Yeah.
you just go for the whole day, and then they do night skiing, it's actually kind of fun there.
And if you have children, it's
Yeah.
great.
Beats
Actually,
going
they
all
were
the way to
open-
Sugarloaf.
They were open a lot at night last year.
Yeah,
Good.
I
Okay,
love going there for night.
so Baker Mountain requested $1,000. Do I have a recommendation?
We gonna
To
yay-
approve.
Yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay.
Okay,
Yay.
okay, against, no? The Forks Fish and Game, requested $2,000. We have, okay. North Cove Association, $2,000.
I say no.
So we have,
What is the North Cove? North Cove Association is, we've had lots of money given to the people in the North Cove because we have a piece of private property that's open for public use. And in order to maintain the trail and the parking lot and that kind of thing, and it hasn't happened, the money hasn't been there. However, this past spring, the money was spent on $4,000 as an executive decision to purchase a 32-foot aluminum dock. Well, that was done in an executive session because we'd given $2,000 and those of us taxpayers and residents of the Cove had matched that with our association fees. Well, the dock was a big bone of contention, and it ended up being offered to send it back for $1,000, it cost $4,000. And they were gonna send it back for $1,000 and instead put it up for bid. And it got split in two, I don't know where the second half is at this point. And, it was a 19-19 vote in the code, so it didn't pass. A lot of politics, and I don't think it's worthy of $2,000 of our taxpayers' money at this point.
Yeah, you got me, that's a no.
So I'd like to say no to $2,000 to the North Cove Association.
So are you recommending $0?
I am recommending zero, nada, no.
Second for zero, second recommendation for zero. Okay, all those in favor of $0?
Thank you.
We love not spending money.
Okay, Pleasant Pond Protective Association,
No.
How many more, uh,
they're.
Make a
so
motion for
recommendation
zero.
Zero.
make a motion for zero.
I second that.
If
Second,
we can't even go there, we shouldn't give them any money.
You have to go track somebody down to get them to unlock the gate.
They have.
Any opposed?
all those in favor of $0? Okay, all those opposed? Okay, JRCA.
That is the Jackman Region Community Association. They're the ones who put on T-ball, soccer, flag football in the summertime for kids in the Forks, West Forks, Jackman, Moose River, Dennistown. So it's a great program.
Yeah, okay.
It's about kids.
In favor of the $250? Jackman After School Adventures, $1,000.
Yes.
Okay, Old Canada Road, $500.
What do they even do anymore? Does anybody know?
Yes, she does.
Well, she knows. I'm not involved in the day-to-day stuff, but, so, it's, Susan she's been involved the last couple of years as well. Between Solon and the border, they're still doing, like Robbins Hill and Solon, they've been adding trails, adding a place, for people to, do things, recreate, and then all the way up the corridor, I know there's, kiosks and informational,
Rest
booths,
areas.
the rest areas are maintained. That's the income for the Old Canada Road, is contracting with the DOT and maintain all of the rest areas. Trying to think of some of the other
So we do see some benefit nowadays.
Yes.
Haven't heard much about it.
Yeah, some can always use, board members.
Besides the guy with the beard there.
Yeah, so especially we have more board members up north, up this way. Further south, we don't really have anybody, like Moscow, Bingham, Solon. I was, but then I started doing bookkeeping for them, so I'm not on the board anymore.
Discussion point?
Do you have your hand up?
No, she answered my question.
Okay.
I'll do that.
Okay, and so for
Yay.
the Old Canada Road, all those in
Yes.
favor? I thought no. Lake Moxie ATV riders, $3,600.
Yay.
Okay. SEDC, $100.
Can I say something real quick?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
The club wants to thank, the town and the people, it's a very important thing for us. Just so people understand, that helps us get our match. We get a 90% funding from the state, from the grant. We have to raise the other 10% organically, and this helps us tremendously reach that goal, and I'm great.
Do the other towns involve, Carathon?
So Carathon is not involved on the ATV side, but they are involved on the snowmobile side.
Right.
And on the ATV side, there's only a few miles of trails that actually go through Carathon, but I will be getting Carathon up for funds as well, because we did that, the same thing on the snowmobile side, they weren't contributing anything, and they have half the mileage we have up here as well as the Northwest territories.
Susan, you had a,
Nope, that was my question
Okay.
too, so.
okay, so SEDC for $100.
What is that? Somerset Economic Development.
Do the businesses see any benefit to the SEDC?
Yes, we do, they've helped us a lot with it, both the clubs, helping us purchase groomers and, financing, the last groom we purchased. And they're currently reviewing one.
Okay, great. There you go.
give us the grant.
Fort Erie Trail Club for $6,500.
Yay.
And one piece of information on that one, the difference between the ATV club and the snowmobile club is we still get a grant, but it's capped at $45,000 is the most we can receive. We apply for, it's 75,000, but we can only get a 70% match, so we have to raise 30%. And most of that just goes to the fuel cost and when you put the ATV side, puts the money into the trails, the snowmobile side is the actual grading side.
Ben, thank you for all you do.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, sure, so,
I'll remind you that on some of your Facebook posts.
Yeah, it's real, it's fun. No, it's real fun.
it's fun.
Okay, Central Maine Pyro, 4th of July fireworks, 2,700.
Yay.
Okay.
It's overdue.
What'd you have to have?
MPVN TV,
What channel is that?
It's not available
Well,
anymore.
Well,
Not on
Oh,
TV.
Maine Public
They don't do the basketball tournaments anymore.
Yeah, they only do the state, they only do the regional and state championship games now, so, I mean, other than that, you have to pay for a subscription to watch them online, so.
Not good.
So, all those in favor of the $100 for the TV?
No.
Yay, yes, no, yes, okay.
$100 for being public broadcast.
See, we have one.
You can watch your major shows
All
on
those
the
opposed?
I'll help you with it.
Okay, so that's for the TV, good, good. Okay, so all those opposed to the 100? You want, okay, so we'll do 0. Okay, St. Peter's Food Pantry, $500.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that increase.
Okay.
We,
We have
we got the 3,000 that we're not donating to North Cove, between North Cove and Pleasant Pond. I'd like to see that increase to at least 1,000.
I second that.
So we have a, how much, Barbara? Recommendation.
Increase it to 1,000.
So do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor of $1,000 to St. Peter's Food Pantry? All those opposed? Lake Moxie Campers Association, 1,500. All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay. And Red Cross is asking for $250.
Yay.
Okay.
They,
With prejudice.
well, yeah, so they don't even come up here and help if there's a fire.
There is no help.
There is no Red Cross
Locally, we
help
have no
at
support,
all,
but
zero
Red
zip
Cross.
zilch.
And
So,
remember,
do we
when you
really
get your
wanna be
blood
giving some money?
transfusion,
Yeah. I usually.
when you get your
I haven't done it in a
CPR
while,
class,
but-
when you get your friggin' first aid class, you're paying.
That's right,
Right.
that's right.
And they don't help us.
Recommend zero.
We have to.
I recommend zero.
Why should we give them any money?
Yeah, nothing.
So we have, I started to get a yay, but we have a recommendation of $0 for the Red Cross. So do we have a second?
But that also goes to help other people
I know,
elsewhere.
that's what I think.
Right.
200,
Yeah.
it's helping people that have had fires
You know,
and local
I'm a softie, yeah.
communities. Yeah,
Fine.
I'm gonna have to vote for that one. I'm
Somebody
sorry,
Okay,
it's
so-
the Red Cross.
So all those in
Red
favor
Cross.
of $0 to the Red Cross?
I pay enough
$0.
tax, what's another?
For the $0, so.
It'll come off because we don't have to.
All those opposed, or, we'll go with the 250, all those wanting to do the 250?
I do.
Okay.
It's a little good karma, you know?
Oh, hold them up again one more time for the 250,
Come
sorry.
on, come change your minds. Come on, change your mind.
13, okay, so 250 passed.
Thank you.
So,
Celestial, thank you.
okay. So we'll get a new total here.
I don't.
So we can do a total at the bottom here. Almost done. Okay.
The appropriated amount can't change, Sandy, on the
What's that?
bottom,
Yeah,
the
So-
7,590.
So we would need
that
to raise $12,810.
Oh, I see, okay, cause so, okay, appropriation surplus,
Yeah.
okay, so somebody did the math for me,
So $12,810 that we have to raise.
Okay. So there's a recommendation to raise $12,810.
He just did it instead.
Second.
These are all total.
Okay,
hold on. Who made it?
who made the motion for the 12,000?
I did.
Okay. And, okay, all those in favor as read, all those opposed? Okay. Article 36. To see if the people will allow the Board of Assessors to expend money from the tree growth reimbursement to offset taxes.
Make a motion, we accept the article as written.
Second.
All those, any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Article 37, to see if the plantation will vote to collect or vote not to collect, oh my gosh.
Motion to
Not
accept
to
is
collect.
written.
No.
Interest, hold on, interest, at 8% on unpaid taxes, after January 1st, 2024.
Make a motion, we accept the article as written.
Or to collect or not to collect.
No,
Right.
we call
Oh, I see.
Collect. Okay, so it'd be to collect 8%, okay. And then,
Except-
yeah,
Except to collect.
to collect, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Interest set at 8%. Article 38, see if people will vote to authorize the tax collector to accept prepayment of taxes not yet committed pursuant to 36 MRSA 506, and to refund without interest any excess amount paid and over the amount finally committed. If I said that right. So authorize to
Make a
accept
motion, we-
prepayment, yeah.
I make a motion, we accept the article as written.
Second.
Okay, so you, okay, any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Article 39, to see if the people will vote and approve the following policy. An overpayment of taxes from 1 cent to $100 will not be refunded due to the cost of administration. Any monies 101 and over will be refunded, less the amount of the town's cost of processing. Do I
Motion to
have a
accept is
motion?
written.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that or clarification needed?
So does, would the extra money go on the next year's taxes?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, payments are always applied to the oldest tax first, and then if you overpay, like I have the ability to put anything up to $100 automatically on the next one. If they pay 150, I call them and say, what do you want me to do?
Is that the intent of this article though?
Yes.
Yep, that's what it sounds like to me, it sounds like the exact same thing, except it does
Perfect.
allow for
You have to have a
administrative
motion
fees.
to move money,
Yeah,
cause it's not yet committed.
yeah. Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Article 40, will the people vote to accept the newest update of the MMA General Assistance Program?
I make a motion, we accept the article as written.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Article 41, will the people vote to carry over unexpected balances from the following accounts and allow the Board of Assessors to use these monies as necessary? Student Activity Fund, non-traditional scholarship, education accounts, plantation charges, cemetery funds, scholarship fund, recreational trail accounts, public works, and public works.
Make a motion, we accept the article as written.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah,
We'll
what
get
does
you an
this
itemized-
exactly mean?
If it happens.
Because some of these accounts are like accounts that always have balances because they are set aside for those specific
They
reasons,
reserve
so
accounts.
why?
Kinda like their reserve accounts, long-term savings, so they have to be, the
So
money
they'll
to
be-
be carried over from next year, to stay in place in the account.
So you're saying they'll be used specifically for those accounts?
Correct.
At your discretion, not for any, not for the general fund, not for any other stuff?
Right.
Well, it's
Okay.
worded
Worded.
loosely, cause
Do
it
you wanna
says
borrow
monies as necessary. I mean, it sounds kind of loose there, you know, that it could be used in the general fund.
To draw from those funds for those specific things though, it's not,
Well, but it's worded kind of loose to mean that, you know, it just says that you can use the monies as necessary, so that,
I understand what you're
you
saying.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, as long as it's just for those accounts.
that's
Yeah.
right.
So
I
to
think-
clarify, the intent
That's
is
why they
for the
put in-
following accounts.
Yeah,
So you wanna roll over those unexpended balances,
into those accounts
Correct.
to
Yeah.
stay where they are, yes.
yeah,
Yep.
okay,
What
so
we
we
do.
will
And not for the
Yeah,
general
that,
fund.
the,
clarify.
that as necessary needs to be changed
Yeah.
for future reference.
Yeah. So I'm making a note for
So,
clarifying,
yeah.
lingo, clarifying the description, so. Okay, any other discussion on 41? All those in favor? All those opposed? 41A, to see if the plantation will authorize the selectmen to borrow from unappropriated surplus to meet unanticipated emergencies that may occur during the fiscal year 2023.
Make a motion, we accept the article as written.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Yeah.
We don't have selectmen.
Did I- So it came natural to me because we're saying, so, okay. Selectmen to borrow from,
Change the
okay,
wording.
so, you just have a set. So,
For a select board,
No, it says selectmen.
It just assessors, we have assessors.
The Board of
I
Assessors.
make a motion.
Right,
that we-
Change the wording.
let's see that.
Are we allowed to do
No.
that, Ms. Moderator?
I don't think we are.
it's,
It's the same intent.
so the intent is the same, I did speak to,
Motion
I don't know
to
if it
table
was-
until the next town meeting.
hopefully we won't have a natural disaster.
right,
No.
so,
We'll have the Red Cross.
That won't come.
Call Celeste.
why can't we just bring it to a meeting if we have some.
Right.
hold on just one second.
You know,
I think we table it.
Doing a good job.
Vote on it, say no.
like, give her a second.
I thought I found something that discusses.
And it comes underneath that Article 41 that's there, I don't know. If you have unexpected and unanticipated emergencies, can't we have an emergency meeting and
Yes.
That's
pretty broad.
Or up to a certain amount and no more without a meeting or something? I don't
So,
know.
no.
You would let someone like that run
We
the
have
business.
up to a certain amount on ours, we said that it allows the selectmen to expend up to $5,000
Right.
without having a special town meeting,
Right.
for it, but this doesn't have a dollar amount.
Yes.
There's a lot of words, I'd have to read through, I did kinda find it, but it's too much to read through, so do you still want to pass over
Let's
or
vote.
post, or
Table.
table it?
I think it's pretty broad this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
So vote to table it.
So who made the motion to table?
I
didn't.
David,
who made the, who made the?
I did.
Okay, I make motion to table Article
Okay.
41A.
Second.
Okay, and then to,
We have to
we
do the
will
same thing to B because it says.
table it and
Well, we gotta vote on
revise,
one at a time.
One at a time, we haven't even read B yet.
revise the wording, okay. 41B. Article 41B, to see if people will authorize the selectmen to spend an amount not to exceed 3/12 of the budgeted amount of the 2023 budget during the period of July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. Do I have a motion on that?
I make a motion to accept the audit as written.
Second.
So,
But it says the
it
same
says
thing.
selectmen.
I know, but we gotta vote on accepting it first before we can table it.
Okay, any
I
discussion?
make a motion, we table Article 41B.
Second.
And that's to revise.
The dates,
Revise
right?
wording,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, because they're anticipating us. They're anticipating not having a town meeting in town.
Yeah, well, that's.
So we have to vote on that?
Vote to table, yeah, so, all those in favor of tabling Article 41 until it's revised?
A
All
and
those-
B.
Yep,
We're doing one at a time.
oh, did we not, I guess we didn't vote on A, I guess I thought we
I
did.
just wanna make sure we keep
I
our,
thought we did.
Yeah,
41A has been
procedures
tabled.
proper.
Right.
41B has been
Okay.
tabled. Up to 42.
42, yay.
42, will the people vote to accept any grants, reimbursements, or other monies as provided by the Maine State Legislature, Maine Revenue, Maine Property Tax Services, Department of Transportation, and spend it or disperse it to assigned entity for the purposes intended as approved by the assessors?
Make a motion that we accept it as read.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Article 43, to see if the town will vote to authorize the assessors on behalf of the town to dispose of any real estate acquired by the town for non-payment of taxes thereon on such terms as they may deem advisable, and to execute quitclaim deeds for such property. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we accept it as read.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed?
I make a motion that we end this meeting.
One thing, I make a motion that next year we have our town meeting on time in June. Let's try to do that. quickly.
All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
9:19.
I just wanna thank you, Leslie, for.
Thank you.
Those voted in need to be. That was good, it went out. Lizzie, you guys, I thank all of you for like doing so well. Yeah. It was awesome, so good. Such a good concert. We're not gonna be. They already do. I know. Okay, so.
So we're not gonna be